All right. Welcome to You Talk Sports. Tonight, we have an exciting game between two of the hottest teams in the NBA, the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks, two of the top NBA MVP candidates. And we're going to be talking MVP and covering this game tonight here on You Talk Sports. Let's open up the Zoom room and kick off this broadcast. So you are in the right place to see the live broadcast of the Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks here on You Talk Sports. We will be bringing you the game cast. We will be bringing you highlights. We will be bringing you takes from fans in the home cities, getting insider things we don't normally get to hear or see, and we'll be having a lot of fun together as we watch the game cast here tonight. This is You Talk Sports. I'm the host, Greg Wells. This is the show where you get to be in the show and be up on the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, we'd love to have you here in Zoom. All you need to do is comment saying Zoom in the YouTube chat, and I'll drop you the Zoom link to come on up here and be in the show. We'd love to get your take. We'd love to hang out with you tonight for this game. If you are here in Zoom, we need to have everyone in Zoom go over to YouTube. And as we always do, go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube, and just tell us in the YouTube chat where you are joining us from here tonight. I'm excited to have this game be kicking off in just a minute here. It is my hometown, Boston Celtics, who have been on a winning streak, looking for their 10th in a row tonight. And the Magic, who have been surging in the West. I believe they've won 8 out of 10 since the trade deadline, where they've beefed up their roster. Luka, of course, has been on a tear. Tatum's been on a tear. Hopefully we'll get to see those two head-to-head today and see who really deserves the NBA MVP. We're going to be getting takes from everyone who's here tonight. We also have some announcements about the direction of the channel. We're 3 weeks into this. We've been having a lot of fun. I'm excited to continue to grow and continue to build this community. We are a community that comes together every night from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern to watch the game of the night, whether that's basketball or football. That's our main focus here. Some nights when there's a big college game on, we'll cover that. Some nights we're covering the big NBA game. Whatever's on TV is generally the game we're going to cover. This way you'll have one eye on the game and you'll have a group of friends here in your living room. Our core values are that sports should be something that connects us together in community. Sports should be a good thing in your life and builds relationships. Being a sports fan should not be something that isolates you or takes you away from the world. The world can be a really harsh place out there. So sometimes we just want to tune out and watch sports. That's not healthy. The Surgeon General has talked a lot about how isolation, 1 year of watching sports alone, being in isolation, is the equivalent of 2 years of being in a toxic relationship in terms of physical stress on your body. That's the void that we're looking to fill in the community that we're looking to start here. And I appreciate everyone who's here who get the vision of that and are some of the early adopters and you've been here having a lot of fun. We're going to be talking football today, especially fantasy football. We're going to get into a mock fantasy football draft. As we always do, we are going to get your 1-minute takes. We ask if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to have your chance to shine in the show, to bring up your 1-minute take on anything sports related, although the best takes are basketball and football, since that's what the audience is for. Well, let's hop over to our YouTube chat and just make sure we've got everyone who's here in the chat also here over on YouTube. It is really important, just being totally transparent in how we're building the channel. The more we engage in the YouTube chat and the more we all come over here and hit this like button just like this, what this does is it pushes the broadcast out to more people on YouTube so that more and more people can view the channel. And what you're going to see is that throughout tonight, there's going to be people that discover us and wind up coming up and joining in the show. And if that's you, if you want to join us, let me put the Zoom link in here right now in case anybody is missing the Zoom link. If you're tuning in on the replay, you're in the right place to get coverage of tonight's game between the Celtics and the Mavs. It's going to be an awesome game. Jason Tatum and Luka going head to head. We're going to have highlights for you. We're going to have in-game discussion and breakdown from real fans. And we'd love to have you here with us. Again, if you're watching us on the replay and want to join us on Zoom in a future episode, maybe you're watching this a few days after the broadcast, just leave us a comment. Let us know you were here. Let us know you'd like to join us, and we'll drop you the Zoom link, and we'd love to have you be a part of this community. This is always a free community for sports fans. We're getting a few more people joining up here from YouTube now that we put that link into the YouTube chat, which is great. And what we want to start tonight with is pregame takes. So anyone who has a take on this game, I've got my own take, obviously being a Boston fan, that I'll get to here as well. And we're going to go around the horn and hear from you guys as to what you're looking forward to in this game tonight. We're still about 23 minutes away from tip-off. I'm excited to dive into this and to hear what you guys are looking forward to in tonight's game. I do need to run in the other room and grab my charger cord. I just realized it's not here. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn things up to Tyler. Go ahead and let us know what you're looking for most in this game, Tyler.
All right, sounds good. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good night. Checking in from New York here. Tough game for my Knicks last night. Was not too happy about that, but we move on. For tonight, I'm just going to get straight to the point. We're looking at the Luka Doncic versus Jason Tatum matchup here. Two MVP candidates. I expect both of them to be shining bright tonight. I saw that the Mavs were a plus 8.5. They've been playing pretty good ball lately, especially from the offensive side, and I think they have the firepower to absolutely cover that spread. But ultimately, the Celtics are 27-3 at home. It's a Friday night game, prime time, ready for all of their big players to come out here and shine. So I'm looking for Boston to win this game, but I think Dallas is going to cover the spread and cover that 8.5.
Yeah, it's a big spread, Tyler. I was looking at that myself in terms of, what we can get this at. I've seen it at 8.5 or 9.5. It seems like a really big spread. I was wondering if there might be some injuries we don't know about. We'll start to look into that in the injury report here as we continue with our pregame takes.
Yeah, could I say one more thing? I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
Something I forgot. I always like to do a player to watch, like a player maybe that we don't really talk about as much. Player to watch for the Mavericks if they really want to have a chance in this is Tim Hardaway Jr., who can get absolutely scorching hot from three. I think that would be huge if he can get going, because he could either shoot you in, and win the game, or he could shoot you out of the game. So I think maybe he's going to have a good game tonight, and he's going to be the X factor for the Mavericks. Thank you.
Got it. Yeah, appreciate you pointing that out. Hardaway Jr., I remember back in the day thinking he was really going to be something in the NBA, and but he's turned out to be a streaky scorer, like you just said. If he can get hot tonight, that would bode well for Dallas. All right, up next is Andrew. What are you looking forward to most in this game, Andrew?
What's up, Greg? What's up, everybody? I'm excited about this game. Like was said before, big spread, 9.5. I am taking the Mavs, but I do think the Celtics win the game outright. I also am taking Jason Tatum over 35.5 points and rebounds combined. Although I do want to fire some shots at Tatum. I know that Greg is such a supporter of the Celtics, but I got to say, and we'll talk more about it tonight when we get into NFL draft stuff, a lot of times you can be rewarded by going to a great situation. Jason Tatum went to the number 1 seed in the East, coming off a conference finals appearance. Joel Embiid, I'm a diehard Sixers fan, so I always related to Philadelphia. Joel Embiid came into the worst team in the NBA, the 15 seed in the East, historically bad. This is a crazy stat. Identical career winning percentages for Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid. We think of Jason Tatum as this winner. We'll see. He's still got to put a ring on his finger. I do think the Celtics get it done tonight. And like I said, I am taking that Tatum prop over. But as the Philly guy, I got to give a little Celtics hate before we get the game started.
All right, and I'll have to fact check that Embiid came into the league earlier, and I thought he's been hurt a lot, right? How could he have the same? You're saying regular season wins, they have the exact same winning
I'm
percentage
saying when
numbers?
Joel Embiid plays in the game, which obviously is not anywhere near the percentage that Jason Tatum plays in the game, but when he's on the court, they have identical win percentages.
Yeah. Well, I was going to save some of this until we get going here, but Andrew always knows how to press my buttons, which is I love about him. I love the people that want to say Tatum, needs to win a ring. He hasn't done it yet. Jason Tatum is 25 years old, going to be 26 years old this year. You know who didn't have a ring at his age? LeBron, Michael Jordan, Shaq, Jokic, the list goes on. He's done more for his age than any of those players have done. He's been to a finals, none of them. LeBron, Jordan, and I'm not saying he's going to be better than LeBron or Jordan, but I'm saying he's not anywhere near Embiid. And we don't know what he's capable of. The apex is 28, right? Jokic won his first title. Shaq, LeBron was at 27. Shaq and Jordan were at 28. Like that's when players peak. That's when Jokic started dominating the league. That's still 3 years away for Tatum. So he's gone to a finals. He's gone to the Eastern Conference finals almost every year he's been on the team. And he did come into Boston is a well-run program, and they've handed him the reins, and I've been impressed with what he's done. Especially the game 6 slaying of Andrew's Philly in Philly when he had us down 3-2 was really Tatum's best game of his entire career, 50-point performance. All right, so let's continue with what else to look forward to tonight. And with that in mind, by the way, I also want to just finish on that thought. Luka is only 1 year younger than Tatum and has never been to an NBA Finals, has half the playoff appearances. So anybody who's advocating for Luka over Tatum I mean, I'm always open-minded to hear stats and facts to back things up. I love when we get into that here and look forward to getting into that here with you guys. All right, Jeremiah, what are you looking forward to in this game?
All right, hi guys. Hey Andrew, thanks for that stat about Embiid and Tatum. That's interesting. I'm looking forward to this game between Boston and Dallas tonight. Two MVP candidates, Luka and Tatum. Dallas is in the middle of a 9-game stretch where they play all Eastern Conference opponents. They need to get as many of these as they can, as the West is a lot tighter. I'm actually calling Dallas to win outright tonight. It's not as important to Boston, and you don't show up every night. I got my other eye on the Cleveland-Detroit game. Both Karis LeVert and Donovan Mitchell not playing for Cleveland, so Detroit might make a game of it.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, I'm checking the injury report here just to see it's not showing any injuries for either teams. Let's stay on this game for now. If we have time, we'll take a look around the entire league here tonight, but most of our audience is tuning in to see this game here tonight. I don't see this being a letdown spot at all for Boston at home in prime time. They're on a roll. Tatum's gearing up for the MVP. They want to clinch and start resting as soon as possible. Doesn't mean Luka can't pull one out of his ass and beat them single-handedly. But I don't see Boston having a down game. It's also a revenge game for Porzingis coming back against the team that kind of gave up on him. Dexter, what are you looking for in tonight's game?
I'm looking forward to seeing what the Mavericks can really do. I know about Kyrie. I know about Luka. I want to see if these guys can come out and beat Boston and maybe get some confidence early on to make a deep run on that Western Conference, because there's going to be a lot of offense in the Western Conference this year. And so let's see if the Mavericks are one of those teams who can hang with the big boys and stay late and make another deep run.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Kyrie. It's interesting. He's probably one of the most hated players in Boston, or that has come through Boston. We had such high hopes for him. We brought him in the year after he hit the game-winning shot for the Cavs. And he bailed out LeBron and stole that one from Golden State and changed the course of LeBron's legacy with one big shot. And then we realized that's really, he just got lucky, and he's not good, not clutch, not a team player, bad in the locker room. Every team he's gone to since then has gotten worse. He didn't show up for the Celtics. The 1 year he was hurt and missed the playoffs. The second year, he played, and they did worse than the year before when they had him. And then he was gone, didn't re-sign, and they didn't want him back. And if you remember when he played on Brooklyn, it first came back to the Celtics, he had some, ridiculous pregame routine where he was making fun of the Garden, throwing down his smelling sauce, or whatever he was doing. And of course, we've all heard a lot of the other things that come out of Kyrie's mouth, from his COVID stuff to I think he's one of the, the world is flat guys. He's just really embarrassed himself for how skilled he is. He's one of the biggest disappointments, I would say, in the history of the league, right up there with KD and Harden. That's why I thought the three of them going together to Brooklyn was just such a shit show, and I'm so glad it turned out to be that. All right, I'm queuing up a lot of good things for you guys to chime in on as we go. David, what are you looking forward to in tonight's game? Great to see you.
Yeah,
I
for
almost didn't
sure.
recognize you. The haircut.
Yeah, man, you're about a week late. Yeah, I'm excited about the game tonight. I think this is the first time since we've been doing this that we're watching the Celtics together. Everybody talks about Jason Tatum. We've talked about Jaylen Brown a few times. Still can't dribble left. But somebody I really want to talk about is Joe Mazzulla. I don't think we've talked about him enough. What happened with Ime Udoka and him just kind of being thrust into the mix there, and still being able to carry them to be title contenders. They were the number 1 seed last year. If Jimmy Butler doesn't go crazy, they may end up, who knows if they beat the Nuggets in the finals. But he's really gotten into, now he's feeling himself. He knows what he's been there, done that. All right, let's get to business. I think it's everyone else in the East is catching up to them. First team to 40 wins. Joe Mazzulla is a bad dude, and I don't think we talk about him enough on here. He's batting 71% in the time that he has been a head coach with the Celtics. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think that it runs through the Celtics. I think they're going to win the championship this year. As far as tonight's game specifically, 8.5 is what I saw. It's going to be a shootout, like everyone's saying. When Kyrie gets his game face on, it's Andre Iguodala. I have said that's the baddest dude with a ball in the hand. So I think it'll be a fun game tonight. But I'm taking Celtics straight up. I'd take the points with the Mavs.
All right, I love that you bring up Mazzulla, and I want to just follow up on that. And because he has his haters that'll say he just kind of inherited this team and hasn't messed it up, which honestly is how I see a lot of NBA coaching. It's really just a players' league, and it's your job not to mess it up. But what do you have anything specific that you can point to where you've seen Mazzulla doing a good job from what you've seen, David?
Yeah, for sure. So last year, he said we're just gonna let our shooters shoot. I didn't feel like he did enough in-game adjustments. I've seen a lot more from what I have seen this year. I've seen a lot more adjustments, a lot more going to the rim. I mean, it helps when you have the unicorn there in the paint. He can kind of spread things out. But I have seen that growth in his game calling. And I also want to point out, Al Horford's 37 years old. Mazzulla's 35. And Al Horford said, that's the leader of our team. That's the guy that we respect. So like I said, Mazzulla's a bad dude that we just don't give enough credit to.
Yeah, Mazzulla, he inherited the team, right, from Ime Udoka, who had the scandal. Clearly, when Udoka took over the team and they went to the finals in his first year, there was clearly a difference in the team. That was when Tatum really ascended. That's when they all started playing defense under Udoka, and Mazzulla was on that staff and gets some credit for that. And then Mazzulla kind of had the team fall in his lap, right? So going into last year's playoffs, I think there was some thoughts that Mazzulla may be the weak link in them winning a championship. He's kind of an unknown factor. He didn't have a whole lot of head coaching experience. When the Celtics fell down 3-0 to the Heat, it was all about Spoelstra was out coaching Mazzulla, and Mazzulla may have been on the hot seat, at least in terms of the fans might have been ready to get rid of him after that year. But they battled back 3-3 and brought Mazzulla back. There really wasn't any question about bringing him back. and he's got them, ascending to yet another level, which is somewhat debatable. It's possible the rest of the East to step back, and Boston's right where they were. So interesting to get a Houston guy's take on Mazzulla, and seeing him as a strength now for the team. All right, we're going to continue with our pregame takes. If you have a take, go ahead and raise your hand. You do need to have your camera on in order to contribute, and we do need to have everyone over in YouTube. I'll put the YouTube link there. If you're here on Zoom, make sure you're also have another browser tab open where you're on YouTube. We need to have everyone in YouTube. It's really important. Every view, every engagement in the chat. I encourage you to keep engaging in the chat. That's one of the most important things I'm looking at in terms of who we're going to be bringing onto the team. Are you able to multitask? Are you engaging? Are you encouraging? Are you adding value in the YouTube chat at the same time that we're here on Zoom? The show is for YouTube. We're here having fun and putting on the show for the people that are on YouTube watching this live, or really most of our views come through the replay. People come back through and want to see what we're talking about. So that's all happening on YouTube. So make sure you're on YouTube. The number of people on YouTube right now is less than the number of people on Zoom. I don't want to have to kind of go through one by one and figure out who's not there. We need everybody to be there. And if you're on YouTube and want to join us on Zoom, the link is there in the chat. We'd love to have you hop up here like you saw a few people that have just joined us doing. All right, this game is gearing up to kick off. The pregame is on right now on ESPN, and we are taking our pregame takes here. Alvin, what are you looking forward to most in tonight's game?
What I'm looking forward to the most in tonight's game is the fact that the Mavericks are actually 20-12 when Luka and Kyrie Irving are playing in the game this season, believe it or not. So the experiment is working with God actually working with the both of them. It seems like Kyrie has really bought in. He may have thought the world was flat, but he's starting to come back around. Yeah. So I'm really good at. I'm really looking forward to that. And the unicorn. Greg brought him up. Almost stole my thunder. But the unicorn. Let's remember, there's only one unicorn, and it's not Wemby. And I think he's going to bring it tonight to show on this stage that I'm ready, and I'm going to win a championship this season with the Boston Celtics. So I got this Boston Celtics tonight.
All right, nice. I like you're getting your pick. Like hearing your take. Interesting. So 20-12 when Luka and Kyrie play. I don't know if anybody here is quick with the calculator and knows how to turn that into a percentage. What would that work out to on an 80-game schedule? It's basically, I mean, if it was 20-10, that would be 2 out of 3. And that would be like 50.
It's 62% win percentage.
52%?
62.
62. So now multiply that times an 82-game season.
50
wins. I don't even know if 50 wins gets you in the playoffs this year. So, the question in kind of is 20-12 good? I don't think you should be satisfied with that. And for, and I think it was a huge mistake bringing Kyrie back. I think they could have gotten anybody else. They should have just kept Jalen Brunson, and they could have be doing much better than that. 50 wins, yeah, I'd say that's about right, but I don't see how anybody's satisfied or happy with that. All right, up next is Levi. Great to see you. What are you looking forward to in tonight's game, Levi?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. So tonight I'm actually really excited to see how the Mavericks match up with Boston. So Boston is, I believe, 10-0 in the last 10 games, and Mavs are 9-2. Boston they have the first, they're ranked number 1 in offensive rating and 3rd in defensive rating. I'm really curious to see who Drew Holiday matches up with, rather if it's Kyrie or Luka. So Kyrie and Luka right now, they're their only 2 teammates in the whole NBA that's averaging 25 points and 5 assists. And they're ranked number 7 in offense. So I'm really excited to see what they could do against Boston, because I feel like it's almost like checking out to see where they're at. Like, it's like they're going up against the best. So that's kind of what I'm excited to see, kind of how it goes out. And I love Kyrie going back to Boston. He's just such a competitor, man. And I just feel like that 8-point spread, I'm like, I would take, like, it's going to be a close game. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, Kyrie coming back to Boston will be a big part of this matchup. If we look at the stat lines, a lot of times everyone likes to point out how valuable Luka is to his team, right? Luka, 34 points per game, 8 rebounds, almost 10 assists. Phenomenal, right? Almost averaging a triple-double. Tatum's numbers, clearly stat-wise, Luka has better stats. But when it comes to the MVP, it usually goes to the team with the best records, best player, which is Tatum. He's clearly their best player. He leads them in every stat for their team. It's interesting to see these two teams, so dominated by this player. This player, that's what makes this such a great matchup tonight. I really hope we get to see them a lot head to head. And that's what I think is going to be Dallas's downfall, and why this spread is so big is that Boston just has too many guys, right? They can rotate Drew Holiday and Derek White on Kyrie. When Tatum needs a break, Brown can cover Doncic, and Dallas just has those two guys and a bunch of role players. It is interesting. The spread has been going down and down. For our purposes tonight, we're going to keep it at what we have behind me here, which is what was it? 9.5, I think, which is really high. It's down to 7.5 now. So a lot of people are taking Dallas, and it's thinking like that's too many points and they have enough firepower to keep this close, which certainly could be. All right, let's continue with our takes. We're up next is Rain. What are you looking forward to most in this game, Rain?
See how Kyrie responds going back to Boston. Should be a track meet tonight. Both teams are great offensively. Kyrie has something to prove tonight, being back in Boston. But the Celtics seem primed to cut down the Nets this year, with the unicorn, Jason Tatum and Brown. I think a big pickup for the Celtics is Drew Holiday when it gets down to the playoffs, and go, because you got to stop some people, and Drew can guard at least 3 positions. So, Celtics are going to be dangerous, at the end of the season. But tonight, looking to see how Kyrie plays against, with that Boston crowd, and, just see if they can make the game close. Because, I would take 9.5 with Boston. I don't see the Mavericks even coming close tonight. I think Boston's going to really handle them.
Yeah. Hey, let's do this while we're getting the pregame takes. Let's have everyone put who you're taking tonight over in the YouTube chat. This way we'll have a record of it we can refer back to. And a lot of times when I bet, like I'll throw $10 or $20 down, and it's like that's not going to change anything in my life. Even if I win a 5-to-1 parlay, right, $100, is not the, going to change anyone's life or anything, right? But I just like to do it. I just like to prove that I'm right. And what I found is, like, as we've been coming together as a community and just kind of giving our takes here and putting our bets into the chat here, which I'm going to put mine in there too. Obviously, I'm taking Boston in the over. Just want to sit back and watch them roll them up tonight. That it's like, now I don't need to bet. I could just kind of have that validation here. I think that's been one of the real positive side effects for me and for some of us here, as we're all getting to give our takes on this. But Rain brought up Drew Holiday. He's been a really underrated piece to the Boston's success this year. People like to really talk about Tatum, but when we first got Porzingis and had to give up Smart, the city was wounded. I mean, he's our Marcus Smart was our defensive heart and soul. Did not want to see him go. I do feel like he would shoot too much at the end of games instead of swinging the ball to Tatum and Brown, like a great point guard should. He was trying to be the hero too much, but you can't doubt or question his defense. But then when we got Holiday, it's like, oh, Holiday used to pick Smart's pocket all the time in the playoffs. He's even better defensively. He may not be as tough as Smart, but he's a better on-ball defender than Smart, and a better offensive player, and has championship pedigree. Like, that just made it a no-brainer when they were able to get Holiday. I really think the Bucks underestimate. I get, Milwaukee needed to get Dame to block Miami from getting Dame, because they just got knocked out by Miami. They certainly didn't want Miami to get better and get Dame. So I think that was Milwaukee's thinking, and I think they underestimated that Holiday could somehow wind up with Boston. the way he did, or they might not have even wanted to pull the trigger on that Dame deal. I'm not saying he's clearly a step up from Holiday, but I don't think they liked the way it worked out. All right, let's go next to Cameron. Great to see you. Another haircut. It's hard to recognize you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. What's up? So I'm just gonna give my little take on the Celtics here, man. We all know they got the best record in the NBA at 46-12, but I'm curious to how they can stack up against competition out west. This season they are 33-6 against Eastern teams, but only 13-6 against Western teams. And I don't know if Vegas is tripping because I think the Mavericks have been rolling. They really should be 10-1 in these last 11 games. They lost that Cavs game due to Max Strus completely heating up in the last like 3 minutes of that game, and then also icing like a 3/4 of the court, just miracle heave. So the Mavs have been rolling. They've been real hot, but the Celtics, man, that's a team that's even hotter. They're 27-3 at home. They're on the verge of winning 10 straight games. I got them winning 60 games this season. They have the most stacked roster in the NBA. I thought that Porzingis trade was a big time steal for the Celtics. Brad Stevens, manager of the year for getting that trade off. Any organization would love to trade for an all-star or all-pro type level player like that. And I think it was great for Porzingis' legacy. I'm just wondering if the Celtics can actually get. Oh, I also wanted to ask the chat a quick question. In this game, the two players that obviously stand out to me are Luka and Jason Tatum. So if you guys were to start a franchise around either one of these players, who would you guys want to go with? And if you're going to pick Tatum on the fact of he wins more and he has better wins, I believe Luka can do that same thing if you put him in Boston's situation. So that's just my take on these two amazing players and teams tonight. I think it'll be pretty close. I also want to give a shout out to the Boston Celtics. I know I said the Warriors have brought out this new death lineup the last few weeks in the NBA. It's been the best, but it's no doubt that the Celtics have the best lineup throughout the whole NBA with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, the Unicorn, and Drew Holiday. And Holiday is if Porzingis and Holiday can stay healthy, I honestly, there's no reason why the Celtics can't win it all this year.
Yeah, I love getting that take from a Warriors fan out in California, so we know we're getting objective information. That's what makes this so fun to get everyone's takes here. Of course, there's no definitive right answer in any of this, right? And I love when we disagree on things as much as when we agree. And I love that you're getting us going in the chat here, Cameron. We're seeing it's pretty mixed with people taking Tatum or Luka. And highlighting Porzingis, to me, like Porzingis is perfect for Boston, right? Holiday's our third scorer. Porzingis like our 3 or 4 scorer, right? He's not a number one. Not even a number 2, and he's kind of paid like a 1 or 2 and so injury prone. I mean, Dallas basically gave up. I don't know what they got from Washington when they just got rid of him, right? And dumped him. And so he was kind of cast off, I feel like. And coming into Boston, it's just the perfect fit. I mean, I was thinking we wouldn't need his scoring at all. I really thought his scoring would take a step back. He'd just be a big body for us to throw at Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, and he allows Horford to come off the bench because Horford at 37, he's great, but can only be great in small spurts now. To me, that was the perfect fit. And then seeing Porzingis shine offensively, going back to his New York days, he's looking like, again, the Unicorn. It's just been a real pleasant surprise. I don't think anybody was really expecting it to come out as great as it did there. So again, let's have everyone just put into the YouTube chat here who your picks are and which player you'd rather have. Love getting the engagement going in the YouTube there. All right, up next is Alex. Go ahead and let us know what you're looking for most in this game, Alex.
Yeah, I'm looking for Drew Holiday. I want to see how he locks up. I'm guessing he's going to be guarding Luka. I hate to say it, but I think Drew's fit is better for the Celtics than it was for the Bucks. Granted, he was on the championship team for the Bucks, but Drew had to be that third scorer, and he had to be that third scorer, and it just didn't show in the playoffs last year. With Boston, you can go to Porzingis, you can go to Derek White. Their starting lineup is deep with scoring, and he can just focus on defense and locking down that, premier player on the other team. It really pains me to say that too, Greg. So you're lucky I'm saying that. But yeah, I want to see how Drew Holiday plays tonight specifically. I think Boston rolls tonight. I think the over hits. And then lastly, Greg, your logic with, the best team MVP, the best team with the best player winning the MVP. Last year, the Bucks were statistically the best team, best record, and Giannis was the best player, but he did not win it. So based on your logic, Tatum should not win it. Also, in my opinion, Tatum is fifth at best. You have SGA, Jokic, Giannis. Geez, maybe even who's the point guard from Minnesota? Why is his name escape? Ant Edwards. That's another one you can look at too. But we'll see what happens when push comes to shove. But that's my take.
Yeah, I love getting a take from the Milwaukee Bucks, giving Boston their props. Obviously, we're all looking forward to that playoff showdown. With regards to what you're saying about the MVPs, I would fact check that. I mean, there's another rule with MVPs that kind of trumps everything, and it goes back to the Jordan days, that they don't like to give it to the same player too many times in a row. I felt like they were just giving it to Karl Malone, and Jordan, was the MVP those years. And that's been an ongoing thing. If you go back and look at who they've given it to, they really don't like to give it out more than twice in a row. I don't see, like here, Derrick Rose got it in between LeBron's run. Giannis had his 2 years. Nikola had his 2 years. They don't really, Curry had his 2 years, right? They don't really ever give out more than 2. Right. Here's where Jordan should have had all of these, and they were giving them to Karl Malone. Jordan had 2 back here, right? Magic had 2. Bird had the 3. I feel like they're kind of saving that rule for Bird as 3 MVPs. He's the only one. And that is kind of a part of why, Giannis didn't get it. But in general, so that rule trumps all other rules. If we're looking at this historically, I'm not saying these are my rules. There are no right or wrong rules for this. But if we're looking at it historically, the not giving more than 2 seems to be the number one thing they go by. And then after that, it tends to go to the team with the best player with the best record. All right, let's continue here. Will, what are you looking forward to most in this game? Let's stay focused on our game. It's just about to tip off. It hasn't tipped off yet. We'll be dialing in the game cast here live as soon as it does tip off. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I've always viewed Luka as a bit of a ball hog, and I know a lot of NBA players don't want to play with him, so I'm kind of interested to see how him and Kyrie end up and work together. And then the Celtics point guards. They have a lot of point guards. They have a lot of point guards, so I'm kind of interested to see how Pritchett plays and the other point guards as well. So seeing how Luka and Kyrie gel and the Celtics point guards.
Yeah, Derek White and Peyton Pritchard both having career years. Somebody in the coaching staff deserves some credit for that. I don't know if that's head coaching or if they have somebody who's more of the specialized coach there, but I think that's a good point from Will. And Luka as a ball hog, it's interesting. His fans will say, well, he's at 9.7 assists, but there's throughout the history of the league, there have been plenty of guys that have led the league in assists, but were essentially still stat guys. That's all they really cared about was passing to get their assists.
That was definitely Westbrook. Westbrook was definitely that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between, and some of it's the offense they're into, like Curry and the motion offense Golden State runs. When Curry gets his assists, he's much more in motion through his offense. Traditionally, NBA stars, they do kind of pound the ball and need the ball in their hand in order to be the star. So that would be an interesting, topic later. Can you lead your team in assists and still be essentially selfish? And it would be a good topic for us to go into on another show. Let's try to get all these pregame takes in here. Up next is Cruiser. What are you looking forward to most in this game, Cruiser?
I'm looking forward to the bench play from both teams. I have Boston winning the game, and I feel that Boston has a much better bench compared to the Dallas Mavericks because Pritchard can hoop. Cornette is a good size coming off the bench as a backup center to Porzingis, along with Horford as well too. And the biggest thing I want to see is the matchup between who Drew Holiday is going to guard, mostly between Luka or Kyrie. Because whoever Drew's going to guard, I feel that the second best defender on the Boston is Brown a little bit more than Tatum. So whoever Brown is going to guard is going to be the key matchup if the game comes close as well too. And with Kyrie coming back to Boston, the Duke battle between Tatum and Kyrie, that's always interesting to watch among the NBA. But I got Boston winning, and I'm just looking forward more so to the bench play of tonight's game.
Yeah, I was trying to look at Dallas's full roster here and just see, who they even have off the bench. They got rid of a lot of their shooters, it seemed like, and although they do have Hardaway, it seemed like they were kind of going with some more hustle guys, right? I think they've been starting Lively, the rookie center who just kind of runs around. We saw Derek Jones getting some time. I kind of hadn't even heard about him. We saw Dallas play last week. They beat Phoenix. PJ Washington was a nice addition. He didn't play too much. Powell's a hustle guy, right? It seems like they mostly have these hustle guys, as opposed to, anybody who's really capable of being that third scorer, other than Hardaway off the bench. So
they need to make Hardaway the third option, but at times from watching Dallas play, it doesn't seem like they're trying to run the bench through him. It just seems like whoever just gets the ball, or half the time what it is they'll let Kyrie dictate the second unit half the times, or sometimes when Kyrie's off the bench, they let Luka dictate the offense, and that's pretty much what I feel like is one of the biggest problems and concerns for Dallas, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really good observation. I haven't seen Dallas enough yet to play to really be looking at their bench. Looks like tonight they're starting Lively and PJ Washington, who they acquired. They got to play Washington more. They're just about to tip off here. I'm looking for the Celtics to start getting Xavier Tillman into the rotation. He hasn't been playing much since they traded with him. I'd like to see him out there. I think they're going to need another banger. I see the biggest Achilles heel for Boston going into the playoffs is if one of their bigs gets hurt. Porzingis always gets hurt, and Horford is older, so he's more vulnerable to get hurt and some kind of injury where they miss a few games, and that can cost them a series. They're not that much better than anybody. Nobody is, where they can sustain losing the top players without bench, and that's where I think what they were thinking when they went out and got Tillman to be that other big. It's interesting they only list him at 6'7". I thought he played much bigger than that if you look at his stat line. Really, they have Peyton Pritchard off the bench. They've been playing Hauser a lot. I'm not a big Hauser fan. He's having a career year too, but I think it's more about usage than anything else. Al Horford and Peyton Pritchard are really Boston's two guys that they depend on. They go 8 deep with Hauser, but I don't think Hauser is a strength at all. But most NBA benches have young people. What Boston needs really is just a bench that can hit open shots, and Pritchard and Hauser are able to do that. All right, so we are tipped off here. Boston won the tip. Last call for everyone to get their takes in and picks in over in YouTube. We'll be looking back to this to see who you guys are taking. Let me put the YouTube link here into Zoom just in case anybody needs this as well. So throughout tonight, we will be keeping an eye on what's happening in this game, kind of taking takes throughout the game. We're going to be going into our next segment. I'm going to have you guys do your first take. Well, let's just tune into this game a little bit here and see what's happening out the gate. Lively had a nice run out here. I think that's Lively. Yeah, I guess he's wearing the mask now, huh? I don't know if anybody knows anything about what happened to him. Lively is an interesting player. He was the #1 recruit for his class coming out of high school last year. He went to Duke. He didn't even start from the first part of the Duke, and then Duke, he started playing, and then Duke got knocked out early in the tournament. So he had really a disappointing season, for someone who was projected to be the #1, pick from his class. And they kept telling us going into the draft, no, he could shoot. They would show him shooting threes in practice. We haven't really seen that from Dallas, but he's a guy to be interesting to see if he can develop. Meanwhile, Porzingis is knocking down a deep three here. Let's get the game cast up on here so that we can follow along with the stats as this is underway. Let's see. Here is our game cast. I'm always interested to see if the game cast is in sync with my television. I'm watching the game on ESPN on cable here, or if which one is a little bit ahead right now. What are you guys watching the game on tonight? What services do you guys use? What kind of streaming?
ESPN.
ESPN.
Like the app ESPN?
Nah, for me, cable. For me, cable.
Cable. Okay, cool.
I have DirecTV.
Okay.
DirecTV.
I believe that the game cast, because I was noticing yesterday with the Knicks game, I think the game cast is a little ahead.
Yeah, it seems pretty close for me today. 1 second. I wonder it's almost like channel to channel. It's a little different because last night's game was on TNT. It's kind of funny just to note that. So, but it'd be good if mostly everyone is in sync with the game cast. Then if we do a little play reactions to things, that won't be totally out of sync. I felt like sometimes if I'm ahead of you guys, I feel like it's like a spoiler alert when you hear me reacting to things. We're gonna
remind you that I'm always behind.
Just to set the stage.
I am always behind as well.
Just to set the stage for later this afternoon, we're going to be doing this evening rather. We're going to be doing a mock fantasy football draft. We're going to use PPR scoring and no team defense, just quarterback, one and no bench, just one quarterback, 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and a tight end. So it'll be a 6-round draft, and should be a lot of fun. We'll see if everyone is still here. We might have some people kind of team up, or we'll see how many people we have here, how many teams we have, but it'll be fun. We won't obviously have 18 teams. There's 18 of us here in Zoom, but in case anybody wants to look up a few things in that, it'll be fun, and we'll have commentary on all the picks. We dabbled with that a little bit last night, and I felt like that was really fun. So Boston's off here to the early lead, 13-5. And they seem to be getting out. Dallas does not look like they came to play any defense in transition here, giving up that layup. And
Do you trust Tatum as a forward, Rick? I didn't know. I thought he was a small forward, to be honest. They play him at 4 though a lot at power.
Oh, yeah, Boston plays them as their 2 forwards. Yeah, they don't really have a pure 4. They play just Porzingis. Here comes Porzingis on a post up. Well, that was a layup. That was pretty easy. I hadn't seen a lot of Porzingis, and I don't watch a lot of NBA until football season ends. So even though my Celtics have been in first place, wow, nice throwdown here by
Dunk was
Lively.
crazy.
Yeah, Lively's got 2 hoops early. He's he's got some athleticism on Porzingis.
Hey, Greg, I got a question for you because you're a Boston guy, and we're talking about with Chris Paul and minutes restriction for the Golden State Warriors going into the playoffs. Would you like to see Porzingis on a minutes restriction, or how many minutes you think would be good for Porzingis' case?
Well, leading up to the playoffs for sure, but once you're in the playoffs, you got to play to win every minute, whatever you think is best to win that game. You can't hold back at all. But that is why Boston would like to clinch as soon as possible. I think I saw their magic number is something like 14 or 15 already. And they count basically every time they win or Cleveland loses, that counts as a game towards them clinching, right? So like the other night, well, actually, those teams play next week. We're going to cover that game on Tuesday. That's going to be a great game. The Cavs and the Celtics on Tuesday night. And if Boston wins that counts 2 games towards them clinching, right? Because it's one they won and one that they lost. We didn't get any pregame talk on Jason Kidd and the Mavs here. He's always a controversial topic. Nice steal there by Lively. And yeah, good following your shot to get the deuce there. I love Jason Kidd as a player. To me, he's what every point guard should aspire to be. And maybe he can help Kyrie get his head on straight, but I haven't seen it.
I mean, Kyrie ain't been in no controversy since he's been in Dallas, though. So something's that got to count.
Well, I don't know. Like last year, I thought it was controversial. Like he joined the team and they suddenly fell out of the playoffs.
And he still does not play a lot.
I wouldn't put last year all on Kyrie though, because it was kind of like
he's been
there.
They were in the top 8 and they fell out of the top 10.
He's been balling.
I don't think he's mentally strong.
Yeah, I put all of last season's on Kyrie, and I don't see why they brought him back unless they were just desperate with no other options.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why don't you think Kyrie's a hooper? That's crazy.
Why don't I?
Yeah, I mean, I get the off the court stuff. You know what I mean? But
he's a cancer in the locker room. He's a problem, and he's a selfish player about his stats, and doesn't put the team first. He's
have you
very
ever
talented.
Have you ever heard of like teammates talk about Kyrie? Like they love him. You know what I mean? Like the teammates love him. It's
not any of his Boston teammates.
Off the court. They still like him too. I guarantee before the game they dab him up. Like it's crazy. They still like him.
You're going to pay your respect to a guy who hit a game-winning, shot, a championship-winning shot. But
I mean, he had to grow up, Greg. He was a baby, man. Let him grow up.
It's just wild because it was like, and you said earlier, like the biggest disappointment. It's like if you win a ring, there's no way you can be the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, but he was carried. LeBron was just as much a part of that ring, if not more than Kyrie.
Had the block. Yeah,
that's done since. Look at what he's done.
LeBron doesn't win the ring without Kyrie. That's guaranteed.
But you look at what he's done without LeBron, and like Greg said, he went to a team that was already an Eastern Conference Finals team. Did they get better? Not really. He went to Brooklyn. That team was loaded. Did they win anything? No.
But all those guys in Brooklyn,
and they drop out of the playoffs.
All those guys in Brooklyn had a problem with upper management. That's why none of them are there now.
Yeah.
Well, the game's on a commercial here. So, and I'd love to hear everybody's take on this while we're on it. To me, Kyrie, first of all, he betrayed LeBron by forcing his way out of Cleveland after they won a championship. He stabbed LeBron in the back and said, I want my own team. And he came to Boston. We gave him a great team. I mean, Tatum was a rookie on that team. Brown was in his second year. Horford was still there. Like we gave him a great team, and he didn't perform, and then quit. He quit.
How old was Kyrie? How old was
he? Didn't even want to be 23.
No, Kyrie was
at the time with LeBron. He was a baby still. He only played 1 year of college. He didn't even.
But he'd already been on the Cavs for 4 years before LeBron got there.
So he had to be
22. When he went to Boston, he was 25.
Yeah. And some players don't want to play in Boston, man.
He went to Boston at 25, the same age Tatum's at now. And he's lost everywhere he's gone since being LeBron's Robin. He was a LeBron's sidekick, and he's lost everywhere and made everywhere worse, in my opinion, that he's gone since then.
I also think, even this year with the Clippers, like James Harden goes, they start off, 2-10? You know what I mean? So it's like when a superstar goes to a new team, it takes time to acclimate. You know what I'm saying? That's why like Mavericks are playing so much better this year. You get a team chemistry under your belt going forward. I mean, it's night and day from this season to last.
Is it? I mean, I think they're right about where they are, and I'm betting they're going to get knocked out in the play-in game, and which is barely any better than they were last year.
Let's put some money on
it. Well, we got to see who they wind up playing. But yeah, I will be surprised. So the game's back on now. Brown's at the line here. And it's funny you bring up Harden. To me, he's like right there with Kyrie. They were, perfect brothers of guys who betray their city, force their way out of town. And I have no respect for any player that is under contract and demands a trade. Because you know what that does. Here's the thing, especially when you do it publicly, you eliminate the team's ability to make a fair trade for you.
Well, Greg, that's the new way. Everybody is going to make public statements because of social media. All the athletes are going to do it now. That old school, staying quiet, respecting the brand, that's outdated. These kids are all going to make public statements, social media. So, that's old school thinking. I feel that way too. But that's an old school way.
You know who's never done anything like that? Jason Tatum so far, right?
I think
he say, "Oh, we're not winning championships. I want out." But he doesn't. He's building the team around him. He's old school. He's in a classy organization, a winning organization, and doesn't do any of that. He doesn't do any. I almost think he doesn't do enough. Like that's my one knock on Tatum is he doesn't show enough personality to really become the face of the league. All right, because we're getting a lot of good takes here. Let's kind of use the raise a hand to go around here. Cruiser, what's your take on this? We want to stay on this game for now, and then we got a lot of good topics here. Go ahead, Cruiser.
My take on the game, I think this is a one of the few potential matchups for the finals. It's a long stretch. I wouldn't go that far because I don't trust Dallas to make it that far, but if everything goes right injury-wise for the West, I can see Dallas somehow making it out to the conference finals. I like Boston as the second runner-up in the East right now, but in my opinion, I feel like this is their conference to lose. So I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a game where Boston start catching their full stride into the playoffs. And matchup-wise, they're going to have certain rotations for the playoffs. So I feel like this is the game where you want to start testing that out.
Yeah, I don't know about Dallas going to the finals. They'd have to beat Denver. I think that's impossible.
I think so too, but that's why I say like a lot of more so injuries got to happen for the other teams. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. Injuries are always a wild card. You can always count on the Clippers to have a few injuries. I feel like they, they keep their doctors very busy there. All right, let's go next to Alvin. We're taking takes on players in this game. If you want to talk Kyrie or Tatum or Luka, but let's keep it focused on this game since that's what our fans on YouTube are here to watch tonight. And let's get back into the game cast while we're talking here.
Well, I definitely want to talk about Kyrie and the Mavs. Let's control what we can control, and that's what we're doing presently. Presently, they're 20-12. We're not talking about the past. We're not talking about when he was in Boston. If you want to look at the past, that's where you study your history, reflect to make your present better. So let's stay in the moment so every step forward propels them toward their future. As they stay in the moment, stay locked in, do the best that they can. Because if the Mavs don't make it through the playoffs, it's not because of Luka and Irving. It's going to be because of that front line that they have. Who do they have to go to other than Luka and Irving to get points and buckets? That's what we need. That's the question that we need to be asking ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way Dallas has chosen to build this team, right? Most teams have two superstars and good role players. Those are the two they have, and it's not a good two to try to win with. All right. And yeah, let's stay in the present here. I was pulling up the standings. I mean, in the present, to me, for a team with two superstars, right? They're underachieving. They're in the 7 hole right now, right? So they'd be in the playoff game. They would play, any of these teams here: Kings, Lakers, Warriors. The Warriors seem to be getting their act together. I could see them, finishing ahead of Dallas. Yeah, the Kings also, I think, are fading as well. If I was predicting, I would say that the Lakers and Warriors will surge, and that Dallas and the Kings will finish 9-10. One of those two will knock each other off, and then the other will lose. To get in the playoffs, the other will lose, and it'll wind up with the Lakers and Warriors as a 7-8. Experience pays off when it comes to the playoffs, in my opinion. Let's keep going with takes here. Let's go to Dexter.
Yes, so even though that we have to stay in the present, I think we actually need to go back to the past and actually look at Jason Kidd's past a little bit. And when he was at the Nets and places where he went, he was known as a coach killer. And now he is a coach who, he was kind of booted out of Milwaukee. And then also now that he's here in Dallas, he's got to deal with Kyrie Irving now, who is known as maybe a coach or a team cancer. And now he's going to have to work his way around that. And I think that in order for them to solidify their present, they're going to have to definitely erase their past, and they're going to have to figure out to work together, because they kind of they're a little similar, that they're both really good point guards, and like they really do they demand spotlight a good bit. So like this is a time where I think Jason Kidd needs to look into his past and see how he can really like focus and get this guy on board with this team, that they can make a run to maybe not this year be in the championship, but maybe get farther and get to that promised land.
Yeah, I mean, because what's the furthest Jason Kidd's gone with a team as a coach, right? I think his coaching record is up for debate. Maybe did he have Brooklyn? Not in the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost before they got there to Milwaukee. So I think that's as far as he.
Farthest he went was the Western Conference Finals with Luka's team 2 years back. They lost to the Warriors.
Yeah,
Jason Kidd was coaching that team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
They had Jalen Brunson too.
That was when Brunson got really hot. That was kind of Brunson's coming out party. That seemed to work. Those two kind of, just one would rest while the other one would score. And I think they thought Kyrie was going to be the same type of thing and an upgrade on Brunson. And they underestimated, Brunson's a winner, and Kyrie, is not. Goes back to his Duke days. Kyrie, Duke was defending national champions with everyone back. And Kyrie was a freshman, one and done that year on that team. He was hurt most of the year, came back for the tournament, and that's the year they got knocked out in the first or second round. I think CJ McConnell's team knocked him out. So he's been not a big game performer. He in that finals, it wasn't just, I will give him credit, in that finals that they won with LeBron, like it wasn't just that shot. He played great in that finals. He was hurt the year before in the finals, which is another thing with Kyrie. He gets hurt a lot. It was a problem with him in Boston. He gets hurt a lot. But at least he's been healthy for Dallas. All right. Love hearing takes on Jason Kidd, one of my favorite players, and I'm open-minded to hear what we think of his coaching career. Tyler, what do you got for a take on this game tonight?
Before I get into that, I just have to say I blatantly disagree with you saying that he's not a big time game performer. Like you just said, he hit one of the biggest shots in finals history, was absolutely fantastic for many of those games. So I think that he's going to be proving a lot of people wrong, just to state that.
When I said that too, I gave him his credit. To me, when he was under LeBron's wing, he probably towed the line and did everything he was supposed to do. But since he's left LeBron, he's not been a big time player at all. And before LeBron, he never even got that team to the playoffs.
I got what you're saying.
A number one look at what Paolo Banchero, the number one overall pick out of Duke, has Orlando in the playoffs in 2 years. Kyrie didn't do that before there. So
that's a valid point. I'm just saying, before you said after LeBron, but he has showed up in a lot of big games. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But I'll just get to this real quick. For the game here, I'm looking for the Mavs, if they really want to have a chance to win this, is they have to win when a lot of the big players on the Celtics are on the bench. They need to get some scoring from PJ Washington. Tim Hardaway. They need to get those contributions, and they need to win the bench points for them to have any chance of winning this game. That's what I'm seeing so far.
Oof. Well, how does you see that being possible? They started Washington, so how are they going to win the bench? Like, who do they even have off the bench? Just Hardaway.
Well, what I mean more by that is when the Celtics are resting at least some of their big players more than anything. They need to win those minutes when you have at least Tatum and Brown off the court, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't think they sit Tatum and Brown at the same time at all. I mean, I haven't watched enough to know for sure, but why would you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you keep one of them out there at all times? That's how I would be running this team.
I understand. I thought I saw that they were both off the court. I could be wrong.
Well, let's keep an eye on that tonight.
Yeah.
And to me, that would be a coaching mistake and something to criticize Missoula for if he's taking both of them out, unless there's a foul trouble or a big lead. I would let them run with the shooters, because off the bench, when they bring in Pritchard, like, he needs somebody to be able to drive to set him up. He's in now. So right now we're seeing this Tatum in with Hauser, Pritchard, and Horford. So Tatum and Porzingis stayed in.
Yeah.
Right, while Brown, and this makes total sense. They got 2 starters in, 3 guys are resting. Then they'll take these 2 out and bring those 3 back to start the second quarter. That's what I would expect to see.
And Hardaway's looking tight right now. Big game in Boston. Feel like maybe he's feeling a little bit of the pressure to be that third scorer right now also.
Yeah, I mean, he's 2 for 3 from 3 to start the game.
Is he from 3? I saw him miss a couple other easy ones too, though.
Yeah, he has. So, all right, cool. Yeah, appreciate your take. Clearly, you're paying close attention to this and bring up some good points. All right, up next is Will. Go ahead and give us your take on what you're seeing in this game, Will.
Porzingis is about a foot taller than everyone else. That's the first thing. And then I think White looks unbelievable right now. When he was in, he was really controlling this game. And Porzingis is already at 13 points. So this team is scary. Tatum hasn't even scored yet, and they're up 10. So scary team. Tatum is not, they don't even need Tatum to do that well. Holiday's looking great. Horford had a really great 3. So I think Hardaway is going to have to keep it up if they want to be able to win this game. And then Luka has a lot of points, just kind of like sneaky, he gets a lot of buckets, and you don't catch him all the time.
Yeah, so Dallas is going to Luka every time. They're either running ISO or pick and roll. Right now, he's backing down Drew Holiday. That's what he's got to do all day long. That's tough to defend. He had Peyton Pritchard on him the time before because they switched. And he took a lazy shot instead of really backing him down for the layup. So I like that he caught himself there and, backed himself down for the layup against Holiday, who's a great defender there.
He needs the refs, though, too. That's the last thing I want to say. Luka needs to get the fouls in a lot of ways. I think a lot of his shots come at the free throw line.
Oh, that looked like a charge. He must have been in the circle. All right, Rain, what do you got for a take on what we're seeing tonight?
We're seeing a great game. Like I said, it's going to be an offensive juggernaut. I just think Boston is just a deep basketball team that's primed to cut the nets down. But I wanted to bring up something about you said Jason Tatum. He's a stand-up guy. He's not getting coaches fired. If you look at the NBA over the last 25 years, I mean, Magic Johnson started getting coaches fired. So this has been happening. And one thing about Jason Tatum, yes, he's a stand-up guy. Yes, he loves to stay in Boston. But if they don't win this year, next year, it's going to be hard to give 2 people $300 million.
2 people, you're saying him and Brown?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I could see Jaylen Brown wanting to leave and go be the man somewhere. I don't think he is a pure one, but I can respect him if he, wants to go and do that. Especially if he's got a ring here. I think he'll stay. I think if they don't win, he'll stay in pursuit of a ring. But if they do win, he'll likely want to cash out and leave.
I think if Boston don't win, what is Tatum going to do? Is he just going to stay in Boston and just keep chasing, or is he going to take the high road and try to go somewhere else so he can get max dollar? Because, like I said, they can't pay both of them $300 million.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any indication of anything like that from any of them, and they're both so young yet, too. I mean, Tatum has no reason at 25 to be wanting to leave to chase rings. You don't come into your peak till 28. That's when Jokic won his title. That's when Giannis won his title. LeBron won his at 27. Jordan, was 27, 28 when he won his first title. So Tatum is still ascending. So I don't see any reason for Tatum, to leave to want to chase rings.
Maybe he might want to just go to LA and, play for the Lakers like his childhood hero.
Well, he's not an LA guy. He's from St. Louis, so he doesn't necessarily have that. Obviously LA has their own appeal of, opportunities that you can come by going there. That would be really gut-wrenching, right? If Boston, I mean, I still resent the city of LA growing up in Boston in the 80s.
Greg. I mean, I have so much respect for Boston through our battles in the 80s. I mean,
yeah, I'm
a Laker fan that says his second team is the Celtics.
I feel, total respect. I give Magic Johnson his props. To me, Magic Johnson was way better than Larry Bird. If you really look objectively at how talented those guys were and the teams that they led, we grew up hating the city of LA, was chanting beat LA. And so that's really kind of carried over into my mindset of how I think of LA. Especially I really dislike the game's on a commercial now, by the way. It's 38-32. So those of you who took the points are looking good so far. But I now that I live in Florida, it's funny to me, California people love to talk shit about our hurricanes in Florida. And I'm like, hurricanes like Florida, you guys you guys have earthquakes, you got fires, you got mudslides.
Yeah, floods.
you got homeless people everywhere. Like, it's way worse.
You got a gang.
I don't
you got a gang
hurricanes
problem.
because the thing with a hurricane is you get a week's notice. The last time a hurricane was coming through Tampa, I just flew up to Boston for the weekend and hung out back up there. Like, you just leave.
Greg, last week we talked about the Clippers and their new identity. I thought the Clippers should have just changed their name to the California Quakes.
Yeah, I mean, something to go with this new branding. I don't know if you guys saw those new uniforms they rolled out. They look like they're trying to be the Knicks or something. Ernest, what's catching your eye in tonight's game?
So for me, I was agreeing with what Will was saying about Kristaps Porzingis. It's just another day in the office for him. He's not fazed by anything that the Mavericks are throwing at him. So I know that the Mavs and Jason Kidd are happy that he's now on the bench because now they can come back in the game. But once he gets back in the game, I don't know if they got anything to stop him. I mean, they've contained Tatum. He doesn't have any points. He has 2 points now, but last time I checked, he had any points. So I feel as though once Porzingis gets off the court, then they could really contain Tatum and Brown. But once Porzingis gets back on the court, then it's all hell break loose for the Mavs defense. And I wanted to go back to real quick about the Kyrie and Luka on the Mavs. I feel as though that right now with Jason Kidd, his playoff experience, championship experience, and also Kyrie championship experience under LeBron as well, they also have that knowledge of what it takes to get to the playoffs. Luka doesn't have that. He's been to the playoffs, but he doesn't really have the knowledge and really what it takes to win a championship. So once they really get that figured out, and once they get that between Kidd, Kyrie, and Kidd, Luka, Kyrie, and Kidd, once they all get under one roof and really understand, put their heads together as far as what it does to take a championship, even with Tim Hardaway Jr., like they could be a really deep, they could really be a threat to the West. But because of all the other teams like Denver and Minnesota and all these other teams, like they're figuring out easy, and Dallas is taking them slow. But once they get it, I feel as though they're really going to be a problem in the West.
Yeah, I mean, Luka has the talent to, be the best player in the league and to win championships. But he's got a long way to go. I mean, he's young too, right? He's 24 and needs to, needs to learn and needs to grow. He has 16 points in the first quarter here. If I look at, to me, sports is about winning the game, winning championships. And what I see championship players would always do is come out and get everyone else involved. It's never the sign of a champion and a winner when you come out and have 16 points in the first quarter and nobody else is doing anything. And they're just like standing around out there. They're going to lose interest in the game. They're not going to bust their ass for you. They're not going to take a charge for you. That's like great leaders come out and lead their team, get everyone involved. We saw this with Halliburton on the Indiana game the other night. I've been very impressed with Halliburton this year. It's the first year I've really watched him play much. And I was like, what's wrong with this guy in the first half of that game? And then at the end, though, he took over. He took over with his passing, not just, racketing up assists for the sake of assists. He took over with his shot and his passing at the end when he needed to. And that's what stars do. That's what Larry Bird fans will say is Bird would have 25 points and dominate the game and take 10 shots. And because he got everyone else involved, and Luka's a stat machine right now. He's a talented machine. Learning to win is another part of your development in basketball and development as a person, as a leader. What he's doing in practice with these guys, and we're yet to see if Luka's capable of that. And that's part of what Kyrie, I would say, has never grown into. Right? There's no one that runs. That he's made better, right? There's no player on Dallas who's having a career year this year playing with these two guys. Like you're seeing Derek White and Pritchard and Boston players consistently have career years. Oh, nice pocket pass there, Tatum.
You talk about like getting everybody involved, no matter who's on the court. The stat, I'm looking at the team stats. The one that stands out to me the most is assists, where Boston has 13 assists combined to Dallas's 2. So for that just tells you enough as how much, like you said, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Porzingis, how much they're putting everybody else on the court, how they're involving everybody else. Whereas Dallas, it's really only Luka and Kyrie that's like they're taking shots, and if nothing's open, they pass it, but that's about it. I get where you talk about as of bringing everybody together. But like I said, once they figure out their dynamic and what their identity is and what they can do, then they can really start bringing everybody else in and start really being, like I said, being a threat in the West.
Nice pass there by Tatum, went right through Al's hands.
That was a nice pass.
First, this is a pocket pass for a dunk. If you guys saw that one on the replay.
What minute are you at? I just saw and one by Luka.
And that was Tillman, I'm pretty sure, who dropped it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he's in now, I think. I think 26. I think that's who you were saying that he was going to get some minutes, you thought.
Yeah,
so.
well, I was hoping he would get some minutes. Yeah, you're right. That's Tillman. Harford's not out there right now. And it looks like, are they going to rest Luka? Not yet. It's interesting. This Gamecast has 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Why is that? What's wrong with the computer showing us the 5th guy out there? Let's keep going with our in-game takes here. Cameron, what are you seeing here? We got a coach's challenge. Actually, let's go to this challenge and see what do you guys see on this before we go with takes. I'm on a commercial here.
You're pretty much ahead of me. I don't know what's going on as far as the coach challenge.
That's out on Tatum.
See, we can figure that out in 5 seconds, but it takes these refs, whole commercial break, right? Got to get that ad money in. But what I'm seeing from this game is you guys, Greg, you're absolutely right. I completely agree with your take on, winning solves everything. And, David was talking about last week about something that I completely agree with him. I never really thought about it until last week when he was talking about the 40-20 rule. Phil Jackson said to be considered an elite team, you have to win 40 games before you get to 20 losses. I honestly think the Celtics will get to 60 wins this year before they get to 20. They have the fourth easiest remaining schedule. But I wanted to reiterate on what David was saying a little bit last week. What he said is absolutely, him and Phil Jackson are 100% correct. 27 of the last 30 NBA champions have fallen under the 40-20 rule, with the exception of being the 04 Pistons, the 06 Miami Heat, and the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks. And you can say that the Bucks, well, that was the COVID season. They had a short turnaround. They had a late start to the season. So you can count them out. The 06 Heat, when they lost their 20th game, they ended up winning 10 in a row to get to 40-20. And then the Detroit Pistons, they made a midseason trade for Rasheed Wallace and finished 18-4 over the final span of those 22 games. So that 40-20 rule is absolutely legit. I just want to say the teams this year that are 40-20 there's four of them: the Boston Celtics, the Denver Nuggets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Only four teams. And I believe, honestly, what I see is I think it's going to be Celtics Nuggets. It should have been Celtics Nuggets last year, but it's going to be I think it'll be Celtics Nuggets in the finals this year. And I really enjoyed that point that David brought up last week about the 40-20 rule.
Celtics Nuggets in the finals. That's my pick too. Let's get everyone over into the YouTube chat and just put in there who is your NBA finals picks. We're going to read through these and just see what everyone is taking at this point. To me, you're the champ until somebody beats you, right? I still, if Denver was playing Boston in a 7-game series and I had to bet on it, I would pick Denver. You're the champ until somebody beats the champ. Tatum hasn't proven that he can go all the way and beat the champ yet. I'm hoping he steps up for it. I'm expecting him to step up for it and do it. But Jokic is a beast, and Denver has a big team and a talented team. Of course, injuries matter, right? We saw Jamal Murray get knocked out of that game with Denver. I think that was just last night, right? The Denver-Miami game.
Yeah, that's the only reason. I think that's the only reason one of these other teams make it out the West is if a Jamal Murray injury or anything on the Denver that can turn everything around.
There's a nice dunk by Lively, so he's bringing some energy to them. He'd be a nice guy coming off the bench, but he's not a starter in the NBA as a rookie, in my opinion. Let's see. All right, let's hop over back into our game cast. We're back in action and also see what you guys are picking for the final. So Celtics, Minnesota. Celtics. Celtics, Boston, Denver, Nuggets, Bucks. Of course, our Bucks, Nuggets. So some people are still picking the Bucks to get their act together. And Adam was asking for the Zoom link. Adam, I'm going to be totally transparent with you, Adam. We had some problems when you came on Zoom the other day. You were kind of messing with the Zoom. And so, we're not going to be able to have you back on up in Zoom. You're welcome to stay in YouTube. But we're a community here. We're trying to all, enjoy the show. We can't have any distractions from you in Zoom here. So we're at 48-40 right now in our game cast. And the Mavs have cut it to 6. Lively again.
Had the crazy block and then came back on the other side for the crazy dunk.
Yeah, that was a really nice block. I mean, he's showing why he was the number one prospect coming out of high school in flashes, and maybe just needs some time to develop.
Are they going to keep Porzingis, do you think, Greg? Or is it a long-term deal, or is this a 1-year kind of thing?
I'm not sure what his contract situation is, as far as this. I know Tatum and Brown each just got pretty big deals over the last 2 years. So they're both locked in, I would think, on 4 or 5 year deals. I don't know what Porzingis You know,
They
he's
might keep Porzingis because he's a bargain. He doesn't cost that much. He probably won't get another max deal in the NBA.
He's not an American. He doesn't need that kind of money.
This is the last year of Porzingis' contract, so he'll be an eligible free agent this summer.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, I think he is on a max. I think he got a max deal from like Dallas and
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's on a big contract. So Boston has 3 max salary players, which has got to put them way over the cap. I don't know how all that caponomics works. But I mean, if you were saying they can't afford Tatum and Brown, they got 3 max players right now.
Yeah, well, but Porzingis won't get a max deal on his next contract. He ain't played enough basketball in the last 6 years. He got that deal on that first couple years in the league. He's going to be a Klay Thompson type guy looking for a 3-year 42 extension, 3-year 60. He's not going to get a max deal anymore.
And his last extension I think was 60 million.
How old is he?
I apologize. I actually just looked at it. He got an extension when he signed or when he got traded to the Celtics. So his contract actually runs through the end of the 2026 season.
Yeah.
26th season. Okay, so yeah, he's under contract for a while then.
What is he, like 28, 29?
Yeah, I think he's 29.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's a high risk player. He's always been injured. He doesn't have much playoff experience. You know, he's playing great. You know, Boston's really coached him up, and you know, he's not having to be the guy. I think this is the first time where the expectations are not of him being the 1 or the 2, which is really taking the pressure off of him. Tatum, you know, has blossomed into a great passer. So there's a lot of things that make this a really good fit for him. But it's not like they went out and got, you know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something. You know, it's Porzingis. He's probably, of all the great centers, you know, he's probably like the bottom of my list, right? Jokic, Embiid, you know, Giannis. Speaking of Giannis, let's hear from Alex over there. I'd love to get your take on Jason Kidd coming from, you know, the Milwaukee side of the story. How did he kind of lose favor over there? And what's your take on him overall as a coach?
So I like him. I think he helps develop Giannis, right? And that was like that'll be his main accolade with the Bucks, I think, in his, you know, when it's all said and done, he ends his coaching career. So with that being said, he also brought the Bucks kind of back into the playoffs consistently. I know they had a good matchup against the Celtics. I believe the Celtics were a 2 seed and the Bucks were the 6 or 7 at the time. That was the Jabari Parker days. Don't get me started on Jabari Parker. Goodness gracious. But I like Jason Kidd for what it's worth. I think though Dallas needs to do something. Otherwise, he's gonna have to find another team. Because I think kind of like the Budenholzer stuff with the Bucks. I think the message is just getting too redundant with Dallas, so they might have to make a change there.
Yeah. You know, that was Tatum's rookie year, that playoff series you're referring to. And actually, Boston was the 2 seed and Milwaukee was the 7 seed.
Giannis, yeah, that's what I meant.
Giannis wasn't really blossoming yet. He was an all-star that year. And to me, that's a great example. One of the things I love about Giannis is he wasn't a superstar when he came into the league. Like, we can see him mature and grow and blossom. That year that you're talking about, this was Tatum's rookie year, not that long ago, right? LeBron would go to the finals that year, and they'd lose to KD and Golden State. So that year, Giannis was an all-star. Giannis was a 20-10 guy, but they were the 7 seed, and they couldn't beat the Celtics in the first round. And that Celtics team wasn't great. You know, they had Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown and Tatum were like babies, and Al Horford and Marcus Smart. So it was like just a frisky squad, one of my favorite Celtic teams of all time. And that series was very memorable against Giannis. And Giannis couldn't will them to win because he hadn't developed making everyone around him better yet. And as he started to grow as a leader, as his play would grow on the court and off the court, he ascended to winning a title and to being an MVP. And that's the same development that Luka's going to need to have if he's going to get to the next level and win championships.
Greg, can I just mention a fun fact about that year too? I believe, I could be wrong, I think that was one of the Warriors' best years where they won like 60 games. I just want to say, Cameron, the Bucks beat them twice that year. That's all I was happy about.
Yeah, but the Warriors got the chip.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Tatum definitely pushed off on that last hoop there. Got away with one. The referee in me tries to see things objectively here.
Yeah, but you don't. If you watch a lot of the games, he does that a lot, and the refs let him get away with it consistently.
Yeah, I love seeing him be aggressive now. It's 2 plays in a row. He's driving right at him. There's nobody really defending in there, it looks like. Oh, it's a sloppy turnover. Luka's going to wind up shooting from half court here. Nice pass.
Greg, what do you think of Tatum defensively? Honest opinion and breakdown. I'd love to hear it.
Since Ime Udoka took the team over, it's been night and day. He wasn't a great defensive player coming in. He's got all the build. He's athletic. He's tall. He can move. So he's got the capabilities of being a first-team defensive player. And the coaching staff has really brought that out in him. I feel like the last 3 years now, since the year they went to the finals and lost to the Warriors, he's been a solid defender. When you look at the guys he's guarding, he's usually guarding the scorer threes. And so I wouldn't say he's all team defense, but he's definitely taken his defense up a notch. And that's a big part of them winning is, when your star player doesn't play defense like Luka, it's hard for anybody else to really, give it 110% playing defense. And Tatum, I feel is given 100% now.
We're starting to agree, Greg. That's a good sign for the rest of the show.
There's another push off or flop.
Yep. He's leading with his arm every single time.
He's got a much smaller player on him.
I'm amazed at how
missed a layup.
I'm amazed at just the people scoring on the Celtics team. They have a lot of people who can score. It's pretty amazing to see.
Getting sloppy now.
They definitely do. And Dallas have a lot of people who can't score.
Dude, Derek White out here hooping, man. I got to give it to him. I feel like this season, I was going into the season, I was like, man, I don't know who going to be the third option is for Boston. And out of the few games that I watched from Boston, I feel like Derek White is establishing himself as the third option. I could be wrong, but that's what it looked like from the games that I've watched.
Him or Holiday, I think, or Porzingis.
Porzingis, I think, is the third option.
Derek White's fun to watch because he's so awkward. Like when he has the basketball in his hand, when he shoots, when he dribbles, he looks like a guy that just finally picked up a basketball for the first time. It makes me feel like maybe I could get into the league. I'm not tall enough.
Yeah, Derek White's having a career year, 17 points a game. He's all defense. Derek White, best shot blocking guard in the league. Like he's a stopper. He could easily be the third wheel on a team, and he's their fifth option basically. But him and Holiday are 4 and 5. So
can you trust Holiday to score, or is he like in there just for defense? I know he's an amazing defender.
I trust him. That's more my reason.
His offense,
he can score.
They don't need him to score. They don't need him to lead the team in scoring. But back in the days when he was on the Pelicans, when he was on the Sixers, like he was putting up 20-point nights consistently. So he can score if they need him to score. They don't even need him to score.
That's why
he's been hitting a bunch of threes tonight. Every time I'm looking up, he's hitting the three.
Yeah, I figured, after he made when he scored the bucket against Miami in Game 6, remember he had that one that he put back in at the buzzer. I thought it was no good, but watching it live, I'm like, oh my gosh, we lost, right? I think everybody did. And I live in Florida, so like to see the Heat fans literally like celebrating, that was one of the best moments of all time. And then rip it away from them to lose to Boston. Yeah, especially knowing like Miami fans, how many times Brady's ripped it away from them. It was particularly enjoyable. Of course, I was surprised Miami stepped up in game 7, to Spoelstra's credit, to Jimmy Butler's credit. Like, they're a great team, a great culture. On another day, we can have a greatest coaching talk. And, maybe I don't put Phil Jackson in my top 10 all time, and give Eric Spoelstra his spot at the number 1 on the list as far as coaches who've overachieved with the talent they have on the roster. Rain's been waiting for a while. If you got something to share, we got 2 minutes to go until halftime. Then we're going to do our 1-minute takes. And then in the second half, we're going to kick off our fantasy football draft. I got to tell you, this has been the most focused on the game and engaged in the game we've been. I don't know if it's because it's Boston and I'm watching it a little closer, or if it's just one of the more interesting games.
This is a big game.
Hey, man, it's Boston, Greg. It's Boston, baby.
It's about watching the best play.
If I had to bet for a championship run, I mean, I like the Celtics, man. I mean, they're deep. If they can stay healthy, like I've been saying all day, they're a dangerous team. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Drew Holiday, those guys can guard three of the other teams' perimeter players. And with them matching up against Denver in the championship with Gordon and Porter, with those guys, Jamal Murray, that's going to be a real good series.
Yeah. Dallas is like a 2-man show. Denver's got 4 guys, right? They got, Porter and Gordon in there. So basically, Porter and Gordon will take Tatum and Brown, right? That's those, and they got height on Tatum and Brown. They got height on them, and then Jokic on Porzingis, right? And then
Holiday on Murray.
Murray on White. I don't know who's Denver starting at the 5th. Still KCP, or I don't even know who they got anymore over there.
KCP.
Yeah, he's a solid defensive player and can hit some big shots for them. He's got championship, experience from his Lakers days. So.
That'd be fun to watch Jokic against Porzingis, because Porzingis is everything that Jokic is everything that we thought Porzingis would be when he first came to the league. So that would be a fun back and forth to watch.
Tatum going behind the back to Derek White. Oh, he blew the highlight.
I'm trying to figure out if Porzingis is a post player or not. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Oh, he can go both ways.
He can post up. He can post up, but the thing is just his inability to stay healthy. You don't know.
I mean, can he guard like Jokic? Could he guard like Jokic or Embiid, you think? Or
they just gave up a really bad layup. If they don't cover, it's going to be because of that bucket there.
I mean,
well,
no one can
guard
Jokic. Like, no one can guard him. I think
that's true. That's true.
No one can guard Embiid.
Right.
Nobody.
I think the thing is with Porzingis has those because he's 7'2", 7'3". He can get in his way, and he can at least slow him down, if nothing else. I don't think you can just guard him. And like when it comes to the star players, like when I think of locking down, I think of like this a little bit older, like Ron Artest, who's like locking somebody down, giving you like 2 for 20 or like 2 for 18. That's locking down. I can't think of too many people that's just too many stars right now. That's legitimately just.
I mean, I keep picturing, AD and LeBron like putting their hands up like in the Western Conference Finals last year. You guys remember that?
Right.
Moment? They were right on Jokic, and he would like slay threes on them or post them up. Like, and those guys, when they're motivated, can defend as good as anybody. AD and LeBron, and Jokic roasted them. Bam's also a great defender. Jokic roasted him. I mean, you can't stop Jokic.
Yeah, you don't stop Jokic. You just try to contain him with different bodies, right? That's why the Lakers went out and got cats like Hayes and what's the other, Wood, just long, lanky guys that try to just, harass him a little bit. But you can't stop Jokic.
Right. And
it's like Shaq in the days, that people would just go get 3 or 4. James Edwards wind up playing till he was 50 because he had to guard Shaq, John Sally. Like, those are just bodies.
Right. But
all right, we're at halftime. Let's dive into our 1-minute takes because I want to get to hear from everybody while we're at halftime. So use the Zoom raise of hand just to give us where we are at halftime here. It's 66-59. Boston's up 7. So Dallas is still covering. It's Luka with 23. Tatum and Holiday with 11, Brown with 13. And let's dive right into this. Rain is at my top left here for your 1 minute take. We'll go to you first, and then Alvin, and then David.
All right, my 1 minute take. We're gonna start with the NFL. Guys, you guys can help us out with this. What does the Bears do with the #1 pick? You go pick Caleb Williams. He's not that much different of a player than Fields. You got rid of everybody, all the coaches, all the players. You're going to bring Caleb Williams in with no offensive line, no receivers, no running backs. How does that turn into success? I don't know. I mean, I think the Bears would do better trading the first pick, getting some players around Fields, because if you go get Caleb, it's still a 4-year window before they're competing for a playoff. At least the Bears was close to competing for a playoff this year. So I just want to know, what does the Bears do with that #1 pick?
All right, so let's go over to the YouTube chat. Perfect type of take where everyone can give us their take. Basically put in Fields or Caleb, because it's really got to be one of those two. Good topic from Rain. I will, again, one of my goals, and this is kind of like sharpening my skills, right, is to try to counterpoint everybody, no matter what you say in your take. Trying to find something in what you say. And Rain, I would totally disagree that it's a 4-year window to make the playoffs, right? The point of taking the rookie on the contract is you have 4 years to on his rookie contract when you can bring in other players. We've seen plenty of guys. Joe Burrow made Super Bowl in his second year. Purdy's doing it, right? So I don't feel that it's going to be 4 years of rebuilding by taking Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is ready to play right now. In fact, I want to actually correct myself. Last night, we were looking at DJ Moore in our mock fantasy draft. Some of you guys picked him. And I realized in our mock fantasy, we did a mock NFL draft last night where we had the Bears keeping Fields. And I was evaluating Moore based on that because that was kind of in my mind. But if Caleb Williams goes to the Bears, I think DJ Moore's stock moves up a whole round in fantasy football.
I mean, yeah, that's great. DJ Moore is one player. Joe Burrow had Higgins. He had Chase. Purdy has McCaffrey. Purdy has a cast of guys. Also, not just offensive guys. They play defense. The 49ers top 3 defense in the league. Cincinnati was one of the top sack teams in the league. Yeah. Chicago don't have none of that. They're starting from scratch.
Very true. So I agree.
They Montez Sweat now.
They have a lot of draft picks. I'm not saying the Bears are going to win championships with Caleb Williams by any means. I just am saying it's not going to take them 4 years. I feel like Caleb Williams, maybe 1 year of adjustment, and he should start as a rookie and put up decent numbers. I wouldn't take him in my fantasy. I don't think he'll be top 10, but he'll have them competing, doing his part, in my opinion, by year 2, or he'll be, he could be a bust. I see it as about 60-40.
Hopefully he can run the ball from the backfield. Hopefully he can pass protect on his blind side. And also hopefully he can find a third down target, a tight end, or a great inside receiver to help him, because the Bears have nothing. When Fields got there, was this identical thing. At least they had a little running game. The Bears have nothing. They got rid of all
they got DJ Moore. I like Rashawn Johnson. I don't want to take our whole take on the Bears here tonight, but I will say this, though. I think Caleb Williams needs to not run. He runs too much. He's not that big. He will get destroyed if he starts running. He's a good size for a quarterback, but I don't want to expose him to any extra wear and tear by encouraging him to run like Justin Fields runs. All right, great take, though. Let's keep going. Let's go next to Alvin. Go ahead and give us your 1 minute take, Alvin.
I wanted my 1 minute to talk about those Dallas Cowboys. There are 4 keys to win the NFC, to go to the NFC Championship. 1, strong team cohesion. We have to be on the same page and give the same message even to the media. 2, effective coaching, with McCarthy and Zimmer being on the same page, having us prepared and balanced. 3, playoff success. This isn't about the regular season. We've seen this rerun before. It's about the playoffs. And number 4, mental toughness. The mental toughness we know we're going to have adversity and setbacks even in the regular season, but we got to be prepared for when we see that so we can get back to those days of fantastic. We just have one game left to play. And I'm talking about quarterback room, and I'm talking about mini camp. I'm talking about training camp out there in Irvine, California in the heat. And I only have one thing left to say. How about them?
Perfect time for the mute button to come on there. I love it. There's not too many takes when I totally agree. I totally agree. Those are the 4 things the Cowboys need to get to the next level and make the Super Bowl. But, Albert Einstein once said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And none of those things have happened under Mike McCarthy's reign in the 2 years or more you've had him. So I don't expect any of those things to happen or anything to get better. All 4 of the things you mentioned are not about the talent getting better. There are things that are McCarthy's job to ensure happens, and he hasn't been able to get it done. And I'm shocked that they didn't make a move to Belichick. Jones has shown me that he's too loyal, too long to his coaches. And I fully expect Belichick to be in there next year and then get you guys through to the Super Bowl you're looking for. All right, David is up next. Go ahead and give us your 1-minute take, David.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not sure if y'all been paying attention, but the NFL Players Association, they released their scorecards for each individual teams, and it's supposed to help the NFL, help the teams to make situations better within each individual franchise. But the actually with what they just released, it's actually a huge detriment. So just real quick, I'm not going to run down everything. It was on a grade of F- to A+. The Kansas City Chiefs, back-to-back champions, 3 out of the last 5 years. They got Fs on nutritionists, locker room, training staff, and F- when it came to ownership. They were actually ranked 31 out of the 32 teams. The only grade that was a good grade was an A+ for the head coach. The reason this is a detriment is because this, with them being champions, with them being the new dynasty on the block, having bad ownership, having bad nutritionists, having bad locker rooms, having bad, you name it, just goes to show to the ownerships that they can get away with whatever the hell they want. Like, they already knew they could do it, but this even just goes to show, doesn't matter what happens, they can spend as little money as possible, and still get away with winning championships and becoming a dynasty. So look at that to be a key detriment in bargaining talks years down the road.
Yeah, so that survey was really interesting. And, one of the things they asked was about rating the coaches. And Andy Reid actually scored number 1 in the whole league as far as coaches. And yet Kansas City's overall score was still, I think, an F, with being number 1 in that category.
31 out of 32. The only reason they weren't 32nd is because of Andy Reid.
Yeah. But I want to make sure I'm clear on your take. You're saying it's a detriment to the league that they even do this survey, or?
Well, so in theory, it's supposed to help those things that are the Fs, the Fs minuses. They're supposed to be like, okay, these are the things that we can do better. But when you've won 3 out of the last 4 or 5 championships, why do we need to spend on a locker room? Why do we need to treat your family better? Why do we need to spend more on the dietitian? So this lets ownership get away with doing the same old, when in reality, it's supposed to, help make things better.
Yeah, and if you look at what other teams have done in response to that survey, they've gone out and made significant changes. The Cardinals, for example, there's teams that Jacksonville was a team that last year was near the bottom and this year was in the top 10. So surveying your people is always a good thing. Listening to what your people want, listening to improve. We shouldn't be, fear bad news, or we want to know, right? We want to know that they're telling us where we can improve. We want to make things better for the players, better for the fans. Kansas City, it's particularly insulting that they have a new stadium deal that they're asking for public money for, and then ownership, meanwhile, is being so cheap in taking care of their players that have brought them 2 championships now. But I think the surveying as a whole is important, and this will be just another thing for Kansas City to overcome. They already, things didn't get any better this past year, and it didn't stop them from winning this championship. That's how awesome Mahomes is. All right, let's keep going. And after you've done your takes, if you could put your hands down just so you don't stay in my Zoom queue. We're going next to Tyler. Go ahead and give us your 1 minute take. If you're here for the game, we're at halftime right now. If you'd like to join us on Zoom for and give your take, or just be up here hanging out with us, we'd love to have you. Just type Zoom into the YouTube chat. And what I really like is after each person gives their take, if you guys could encourage each other, support each other, or respond if you disagree or agree with someone, respond over in the YouTube chat. We want maximum engagement in the YouTube chat while we're doing this. Go ahead, Tyler.
All right. So for the NBA season and with the last 2 years, there's been a lot of talks about the pairing of DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. And there's been a lot of rumblings. They didn't trade DeJounte at the trade deadline, and there's been other rumblings that Trae might get shipped out to the Lakers. Now, hypothetically speaking, if they're going to go with just one of those guys, a lot of people have been saying Trae Young. I do not believe that. I think they should go with DeJounte Murray. He's the better defender. He shoots at a higher clip. He plays harder than Trae Young. Trae Young, as many assists as he had, he's a very low efficiency shooter, and I don't see why they would keep him. DeJounte, like I said, is a great defender. He's long, exactly what you're looking for. He's going to play to win at all times. He hits big shots, and he can score. He can score. He had 9 assists when he was with the Spurs in his last year. He's capable of being that guy. So that is my take. If you had to get rid of one, I'd get rid of Trae Young. I'd build around DeJounte Murray.
All right. I love takes where we can respond in the YouTube chat on one side or the other. So go ahead and put in the YouTube chat. If you're Atlanta, would you rather keep Trae Young or DeJounte Murray? And if you want to tell us why, or if you just want to say which one you'd rather keep, let's hop over to the YouTube chat and just see what we're getting as far as responses there. And here's our YouTube chat. Trae Young is out, I think, for the rest of the year, or out for a while now. And so this is Murray's time to shine, to see if he can run the team, to see if he can be a number one, to see if he's somebody that they can build around or not. Trae Young, to me, is not a guy you're going to win championships with. If Atlanta decides to keep Trae Young, to me, that's a signal that we're in the entertainment business. We just want to sell tickets and have fun. And Trae Young is fun. And he can get hot and win a series if you put the right people around him. He's fun though. He's somebody, one of my favorite players to watch play. And there's a place for that in basketball. I don't see trading him to the Lakers because they're not going to have crap to give you back for it. You can't give away a guy like Trae Young, or you're setting your franchise back significantly. So I would predict the opposite, that they keep Trae Young and they decide that's just their place in life. It's like somebody who decides to marry the guy they're not quite in love with, but like, hey, this is a nice stable person that I'm gonna have a life with.
Now that's your prediction of what they're going to do. What do you think they should do?
Well, in my heart, I play for championships. I'm not sure what's in the city of Atlanta's hearts. In Boston, we play for championships. Tampa Bucks are a great example of this. I am all about getting rid of Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield, blowing it up, starting over, playing Kyle Trask, seeing what he can do. I think they are idiots for bringing those guys back. And, what are you going to do? Go 9-8 again and win another playoff round? Maybe. You're not going anywhere with that team. I play to win championships in sports, in life, and everything that I do. But that's not everybody's place in life, right? It's like I'm an entrepreneur. Not everybody wants to take that on in life. Some people, it's stressful to go for championships. All right, let's go next to Cruiser. Go ahead and give us your 1 minute take. It looks like they're still at halftime here. We're plowing right through these. Go ahead, Cruiser.
So my take is that the Clippers should blow it up if they don't make it to the finals this year. You've been going all in with Paul George, brought in Kawhi. Now you got Westbrook. Now you got Harden. I think you just need to blow it up after this year. You have proven young pieces like Zubac and Terrence Mann who've shown that they can get it done. Ty Lue isn't giving Terrence Mann the chance that he deserves with the playing minutes and everything. And these older guys between Paul George, he's always injury prone. Kawhi's, he's going to miss his amount of games. James Harden, you don't know what's going to be out of him. And Westbrook is a wild card. And out the four of their stars, he's the most consistent one. And if he's your most consistent star that you brought in, that's just a sign to blow it up. The sign's already there. Paul George didn't re-sign. James Harden's on a deal from Philly. Westbrook took that pay cut. I say it's time to blow it up if you're the Clippers, if you don't make it to the finals. Do you need a win? That's another discussion, but you need to make it to the finals based off the Clippers' history because that tenure in the West, everyone's been there. So,
all right. Yeah, good take. Based on what I just said about playing for championships, I should agree with you. But again, I don't think the Clippers have championship DNA. I think they just need enough to be relevant. Kawhi Leonard, you always have a puncher's chance when you got Kawhi Leonard. If he can stay healthy and get hot, he can win a series anytime. So I don't see them blowing it up. Should they blow it up? I mean, they're pretty close now. There's people that are picking them this year. If you're close, you don't blow it up. If they get knocked out in the first round again this year, I can see that. I'd love
but
to.
How many times is it close though? That's the thing because they made to the Western Conference and then like at the
They haven't
bubble,
even been to a
right
Western
there.
Conference Finals with Kawhi, have they? I don't think so. So
they came close, but that's the thing though. They came close, and how many times is how many times can you keep giving
they're
it?
not
They're
close. If they get to a Western Conference Finals, that's close. That's a team you keep together. But they haven't even gotten to that, so they're not even close.
They got there about 3 years ago, but Kawhi had just torn his ACL.
And that's what I'm saying. And you have a championship coach in Ty Lue with your second best player in Paul George. That you should be at least Western Conference Finals should be their ceiling. I mean, not the ceiling, the floor, regardless.
Yeah.
That should be your floor minimum. That shouldn't be, we make it to the Western Conference Finals. We're all trying to win championships. So I just say just blow it up. You have enough young
kids. If they're a championship driven team, I think your point should stick. We'll see who they really are. If they just want to fill the stadium, they're living in the Lakers' shadow is so tough. And I'd love to hear from somebody either tonight or on one of the nights. I saw a quote recently where Doc Rivers claims to have told Kawhi not to trade SGA for Paul George. And I thought that was really funny coming out now that Doc's taking credit for knowing that SGA was going to be this. Because imagine if you guys had SGA instead of Paul George, you'd probably have a ring by now. It was all the talent was right there. And it's hard to blow it up if you don't have any of your own draft picks either. You're going to suck and then not have any picks. I think they've traded away a bunch more still. They're still paying for Paul George. All right, let's go next to our game did start back up at 71-64. Boston has the lead. Go ahead, Dexter, and give us your 1 minute take.
All right, my take for this evening is I think that we need to stop saying that the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen are the greatest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, and we need to start thinking about the Cincinnati Bengals. I know Joe Burrow is going to be coming off an injury, but before he has had Josh Allen's number, and he's also had Patrick Mahomes' number in the past. I know that last AFC Championship got away with us, but that wasn't. That was on a fluke and a late hit, and I think that you give us a couple more minutes, we win that game, and I think going forward, the Bengals is a team that in the AFC people need to watch out for.
All right, good take there. What do you guys think? Let's have you respond in the YouTube chat to both of these. By the way, should the Clippers blow it up, and are the Bengals the biggest threat to Patrick Mahomes in the league? Joe Burrow is the only quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs besides Tom Brady. And but to me, it's all a coin flip with those guys. You got to see injuries. You got to see who has home field. They're all right there, in my opinion. On a scale of 1 to 100, I put Burrow, Josh Allen as hundreds. Lamar maybe a 99. And Mahomes maybe a 101. They're all that close where those are all coin flip games. and Mahomes just has a slight edge, and anybody can win out of the AFC. It wouldn't surprise me at all if everybody gets a turn, over the next 5 years. We see Burrow win another one, Josh Allen win one, Lamar win one, Mahomes win another one. Wouldn't surprise me at all if that's how the next 5 years goes with those dominant AFC quarterbacks. They're all that close, and the games have all been that close. Like one play either way could have changed any of these games the last 2 years in the playoffs. All right, let's go next to Jeremiah. Our game is 77-70. Boston's got the lead, but Dallas is hanging right with them. They're coming out getting some easy buckets here to start the half. It's 77-72 now. Jeremiah, go ahead and give us your 1 minute take.
All right, guys, thanks. Hey, Dexter, first off, I couldn't agree with your take more, Houday. My take's going to center around Russell Wilson. With free agency coming up, it looks like Russell is not going to be in Denver. I keep hearing places like Atlanta and Pittsburgh, but I have a sleeper. I think maybe going back to Seattle. It's not like he has a big chance of winning a ring right now, going anywhere. Seattle could pick him up, pick up someone like Michael Penix in the draft to learn behind him, who's also loved up there in the Washington area, and get a fresh start after he's been humbled in Denver a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Russell Wilson. All right. So, he's not a free agent, first of all. He's under contract, and it's a very bad, very big contract. I think he's the third or fourth highest paid quarterback in the league. His stats
but they're going to cut him.
Bad. He was top 10 last year, but I think he has 2 years left on a really bad contract that comes along with him. And, I do think he's out in Denver. I don't see them healing things in there, although financially it certainly makes sense for them to try to figure this out. I agree that Seattle would be a great fit for him. Seattle is a team that's ready to win now and needs a veteran quarterback. Russell's the best veteran quarterback out there. I just think there's too much bad blood for them to go back there. And if you're going to bring in Russell to win now, you don't draft Penix. You go all in to win now. When you have, I think I saw somebody saying today, when you have a 10% chance to win now, actually win the championship now, you go all in. Because that's as good as it gets in the NFL and really in the NBA too. You've got to go all in when you get your chances added. All right, Will's up next. Go ahead and give us your 1 minute take, Will.
All right, I'm going to be honest. I don't like Patrick Mahomes. I think he sounds like Kermit the Frog, and he's a whiner. He whines a lot. So I would say he has benefited from the QBs of this decade. If you put him in the decade with Rodgers and Manning and Brady, I don't think he wins a Super Bowl. And then the generation before, you got in the early 2000s, I was barely even alive, but I think you still have Brady. I don't think he does anything in the 90s either. So I think Patrick Mahomes has benefited from this generation of talent in the QB level. And I think in a lot of other generations, I don't think he does it. Decades, not generations.
Will, where is it that you feel he's lacking, Will? Is it in his ability to make plays on the run that we've never seen anyone make before? Like he's literally laying parallel to the ground and throwing the ball. Is it in his ability to make left-handed passes?
I don't like whiners.
In his ability to win with this mediocre receiving and offense he had this year? Where is he lacking, in your opinion?
Mindset. I don't like whiners. He whines too much for me.
The only time I really feel like he whined was when they lost the game on the offsides call. He did, throw a tantrum, whine, and then he owned it. And I respect that.
Would he beat Tom Brady? And Tom Brady's
2-0 against them.
Give me a generation
it's already been proven that he can't beat Brady. But
give me a decade, he would be the top QB, and other than this one.
I think Mahomes is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play in terms of skills.
100%.
And that's, before him, I would have said Rodgers, right? I think Mahomes prime, Rodgers prime. Rodgers in his prime only won one Super Bowl. So, I would give it to Mahomes there. That doesn't mean he's the greatest winner of all time, right? Brady has 7 rings, and until Mahomes comes for us, he doesn't get that title, but he's got all the talent and skills to do it. And it's going to be a fun next 10 years. He's got amazing competition. I think the league is stronger at quarterback right now than it's been in a long time. It's harder right now.
Okay, let me rephrase this then real quick. I would say QBs have it easier now because you used to be able to sack QBs and tackle them. So I think that's part of it too. Do you think Mahomes could handle
that? That is
that?
a big part of it. It's a pro quarterback league this year.
Not after this
Scoring
year.
is
We got
up, passing
Mahomes
is up,
rules.
stats are up. If we're doing stats comparisons, all the players these days are inflated compared to, what they were able to do back then. It is very much a pro. The league is pro quarterback, but that's a good thing. As fans, I don't want to see Pat Mahomes quarterback backup out there. That's like ruins the game. I want to be the best by beating the best. I want to take him down. I don't want to play as backup in the playoffs. So I love Will, your takes always you always make points that I can disagree with, which I appreciate.
Next one, I got one that I think you might agree with.
Well, we're not trying to agree here. I'm trying to purposely disagree with everyone if I can. And perfect timing. Up next is our hometown KC fan.
Cook them up, Lisa. Cook them up. Cook them up.
Y'all are killing me. Y'all are killing me.
I better start the 1 minute timer here.
Y'all are killing me, and I want to address every single one of y'all, especially the stadium thing, which y'all have completely wrong. The Weiner thing, I don't even know where y'all got that from, because he has been the epitome of sportsmanship until that time when he did have a reason to be upset because they didn't call it the whole damn game, and then they call it on the last game, which was one of the best plays you've ever seen in your entire life. But that's not what I came on to say, because I also want to go over that other thing. Anyway, a whole bunch has been going on Kansas City, and my time is running out. So let me just get to what I want to get to. So it looks like we may have a new rule in the NFL. It has to do with the hip drop tackle. They're seriously considering it because it has a lot of support to outlaw that. So we may see the refs call that this coming season, but it has to be very specific. They're talking about they have to see the grab, the swivel, and the weight dropping on the ankle, which I 100% agree with. I might not have agreed with it had Patrick Mahomes not gotten injured, but he played through it and we won the Super Bowl anyway. But anyway, so I'm 100% for that new rule, but it's going to be really interesting to see if they're able to do it as far as actually calling it and calling it successfully, because too many people are getting injured, and that was not a bogus hit out of bounds. Old boy hit him when he had 2 feet out of bounds. So don't even get me started on that. Oh my God.
All right, let's go into the chat here, into the YouTube chat. First off, I want to make sure everyone is responding to Will in the YouTube chat and giving Will some love for taking a stand there, and put in whether or not you agree if Mahomes is a whiner. Second thing would be this hip drop tackle.
Kermit the Frog, not
Kermit the Frog.
And that's another thing. He does not sound like Kermit the Frog. You know who sounds like Kermit the Frog? Aaron Rodgers, because he sounds like this. Patrick Mahomes sounds like this. That's not Kermit. Now, okay, I'm sorry.
But let's also address Lisa's rule here. I mean, to me, the point Lisa's making actually strengthens Will's argument that they keep coming up with these rules to protect quarterbacks in new ways, and yet this is another rule that they're coming up with that's gonna, and if it's like, I haven't read much about it yet, to be honest, but the way Lisa described it, which is great, that it's a new topic we haven't talked about here yet. She described it very specifically. Like, if I'm the referee and I have to watch for all that, that makes this very hard to call, very hard to get right. And the more you put in these little bullshit rules to protect players. Well, I get we want to protect players. I don't want my fantasy football star going down, right? It ruins my season. but you got to remember, this is the kind of stuff that then has the referee focused on that and missing like important things that we all complain about. A mind can only handle so much. And if you have such things like that, that I have to really focus in on, like at what trade-off, at what capacity. The mental capacity is not just infinite to keep adding in all these little rules that they have to remember and enforce. So I think there's some trade-offs there. I haven't read enough on it to have an opinion yet. In general, I'm in favor of anything that protects players. and keeps more star players playing. Last year was atrocious, the amount of injuries in the NFL, ruining fantasy football seasons. Love to have some takes from people on why that's happening, and what we can do to fix it. All right, let's go now. Let's check in on our game before Brandon goes up here, and also check in on the chat. I'm seeing David in here in the chat responding. Also Will, Ty G, McDev, Roderick, Dexter, Lisa. Love seeing you guys. Would love to see more. And David really shining in the chat there as always. All right. And then our game. Yeah, I almost lost track of the game here. I was getting so excited with everyone's takes. It is 87-79 right now. It looks like we're going to have anything within 10 points to me is a fun fourth quarter to watch in a game that can go either way. And we're right in that striking distance. To me, 10 points in the NBA is like a 7-point game in the NFL. Like, all right, this is going to be a good finish and can go either way. To me, and if 10 is 7, that means a 20-point lead in the NBA, which sounds like, oh, it's a blowout. A 20-point lead in the second quarter, third quarter is actually only like 2 touchdowns. What you can cut that in half pretty quickly. And Luka's keeping him in it single-handedly here. He's up to 27 now, 87-81. All right. Let's see. Brandon is up next.
All right. So I know in terms of basketball, we always talk about MVPs and all-stars and things of this nature, but I want to talk about who should win the most improved player of the year. That is none other than Mr. Kobe White from my Chicago Bulls. Now, this season, he has increased his scoring, his assists, and his rebounds, and as well as his overall field goal percentage across the board. Now, he struggled a little bit over his past 4 games, but particularly since Zach went down and some of the other injuries that he's had, he has stepped up and played at near an all-star level. And so I think when it comes down to it, that is your most improved player in the association.
All right, good case for Kobe White, most improved player. Let's put in the chat if you think someone else should be most improved player. I have been impressed with Kobe White. What he has been doing this year. I haven't thought much about most improved player yet, so I'm really not sure who I'm supposed to be looking at or thinking about for that. But definitely you make a strong case for Kobe White. So good, solid take there. Would love to hear everyone's opinion on that in the YouTube chat. Again, the YouTube chat, it's really important that we're engaging in the YouTube chat. This is what expands the reach of our channel. It's really important that everyone is on the YouTube show. And looks like we all are, and also in the chat there. Let's go next to Ernest. Go ahead and give us your 1-minute take, Ernest.
So for the past couple of days, I've been watching the combine and really seeing like what players are really standing out in the certain groups that they have. But the one gripe that I do have about it is that every year more and more star players, they skip the combine, like Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, a lot of Drake May, a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of skill players are skipping the combine and really showing out on their college pro days. So I feel as though, like, to be honest, that the combine, if more and more star players are going to skip the combine when they get invited and they just do everything on their pro day, I feel as though like that the combine should just be terminated and teams should just send out scouts to the certain college pro days so they can really see what these players can do. Because I feel like it's a waste of time, not only for teams and head coaches that go to the combine, but also for people who are a fan of the combine, fans like we are who watch the combine, who want to see players like Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison ball out on the draft. Like, I understand about injuries and everything, but if players are going to just do the 40 and do these other drills at their pro days, then the combine, I feel as though it shouldn't be a thing at all nowadays. Back then, yeah, like that was really where you shine, but now I feel as though that nobody's really watching it because star players aren't participating in it no more. So I feel as though it should be.
All right, so let's go in the YouTube chat and put in, with star players not participating in the combine, which the star players are getting more and more leverage in college football, right? They're in control of things more than ever now. and less and less of them are going to the combine. Should we get rid of the combine? My opinion on this is that the combine serves the league's purposes. It gives us something to talk about the NFL in February. The league would like everyone to go, but doesn't really care. They want it happening. They want it in the news. The league is the one that wants the combine. It probably, like, for players that are relying on their athleticism to move up the draft, they probably still go and get some benefit from it. For players that were very productive in college, they're not going to go. And it just kind of is what it is. Kind of like, to me, NBA Summer League, right? Like, like, it's not everyone plays. The true fans, I'll just watch it because there's nothing else on in July, but there's really not any point to it. The combine, to me, is the same type of thing. Love to get anyone else's take on the combine in the YouTube chat over there. And we're going to pop over and look at that next and just check in on our game before we get another update here. All right, so let's see. We've got some other, fans of the combine, people saying the combine can be gamed, which is true. Like, they practice those exact drills. And back over to our game, Boston is up 11 right now, 95-84. Kyrie's got 17. Tatum and Porzingis each with 22. Brown's on the bench right now, getting his rest for the stretch run. All right, let's go. Where did I say we were going next here? Nico, great to see you back again. Go ahead and give us your 1 minute take, Nico.
Thank you, Greg. I'm going to separate the coach from the GM here, but over the past decade, Bill Belichick might have been a bottom 5 general manager in the entire league. Coach, there's an argument for not a great coach either without Tom Brady, but that's a different argument for probably a whole other day.
Okay, so are you any specific picks that you think merit that, or and are you asserting he's gotten worse or that he's always been bad?
I think it's just too much to handle without Tom Brady as a buffer, being a coach and the GM. Seems to get rid of players and make kind of lateral moves, bringing in Juju Smith-Schuster, losing out on him, grabbing up another equal player a year later, losing synergy. Cole Strange might have been his best draft pick in the last 5 years. Everyone else seems to have been, and that's a center if anyone doesn't know who that is. They seem to fizzle. Nothing really pops. He's maybe too smart for himself. And I just think it's too much work for a guy like him who's a workhorse, who's, 90, to be a general manager as well as coach an entire football team.
Yeah. Clearly the Patriots do not have talent, and Belichick is to blame for that. I think it's a good conversation to have is if Belichick has ever been good at drafting. Brady didn't get picked until the 7th round, so he can't take credit for that. Maybe his best pick of all time was Gronk, right? People like to say he can't evaluate offensive talent. I mean, he got Gronk in the 2nd round, I think, definitely not the 1st round. So no other team thought Gronk could be what he was, and Belichick saw that in him. So I think Belichick's best pick all time was Gronk, and he's also drafted a lot of great defensive talent over the time. If we look at what Belichick was doing, Mac Jones obviously was a disaster. But I think Mac Jones went where he was projected to go and kind of did what he was predicted to do. So I don't totally think Mac Jones is the blow up pick. Cole Strange, ironically, has worked out, but was considered a huge reach that year. I mean, teams were saying he was like on their board in the 3rd or 4th round. Thornton was an awful pick. I don't really recognize any of these guys as being impact players, from any of these. Stevenson here in the 4th round. I think, it's like the saying, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? He got one right there in the 4th round here as well. I think the biggest counterpoint, McNeil was awful pick that year. One of the picks that really broke my heart was when he took Sony Mitchell, the Georgia running back, when everybody knew that's not the right Georgia running back to draft. Like, what are you doing? And but Mitchell was decent. We won a Super Bowl with him playing pretty good that one
You're having trouble disagreeing, Greg.
Yeah, he actually made an argument in the Super Bowl that year with Edelman for MVP.
Yeah, he had a good in that whole playoffs. They ran the ball a lot. Like they ran the ball a lot that year in the playoffs down Indy's throat. And I think that I forget who else they built.
Kansas City.
Kansas City, yeah. So I think the bigger argument is Belichick ever been good at drafting, let alone the last 5 years being good at drafting. But that could take a whole episode. All right, up next is Andrew. Go ahead and give us your 1 minute take, Andrew.
All right, I haven't come with a homer take yet for my 1 minute take, so I'm going to do it today about the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Jalen Hurts slander is out of control. Yesterday, Colin Cowherd put out a top 12 quarterbacks in the NFL, and Jalen Hurts was not in the top 12. Dak Prescott was one of them. What has Dak Prescott ever done in the playoffs other than throw up all over himself? Aaron Rodgers was in the top 12. Are we sure that he's going to be playing football much this year? Kyler Murray has a clause in his contract that requires him to minimize his video game playing. That's not a franchise quarterback to me. Trevor Lawrence missed the playoffs. Justin Herbert missed the playoffs. Jalen Hurts was one defensive stop away from potentially winning a Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people would say that Brock Purdy lost the San Francisco 49ers that Super Bowl. No one would say that about Jalen Hurts. The Eagles couldn't make a stop in the second half. Jalen Hurts made an unbelievable play to get into the end zone and tie the game at 35 in the fourth quarter. The slander on Hurts is out of control. Bad coordinator year. He was banged up for sure. Wasn't his best year. I'm not going to sit here and say that he was an MVP candidate. The year before, if he didn't get hurt, he probably was MVP. The Jalen Hurts slander is out of control.
All right, let's go in the YouTube chat here. And I want you to type, each of us has a team, and I want to hear from everyone. In fact, here's what we're going to do. The fantasy football draft order is coming up next. And based on when you respond in the YouTube chat, I haven't told you what to say yet. This will determine the draft order. So if you are the last one to respond or don't respond, you're going to pick last in the draft in this. But I haven't told you what to say yet. I want you to respond in the draft telling me who the starting quarterback is for your team and would you trade him for Jalen Hurts or not? Would you keep your guy, Herbert or whoever it is, or would you trade straight up for Hurts? Would you like Hurts or not? And we'll find out what you guys think if you would take Hurts on your team. Because I think people like to talk shit about him, but when it comes down to it, I would take him on my team. I really wanted to see Hurts get the ball back in that Super Bowl against Mahomes. We had a call at the end of the game, ruined that Super Bowl. It was the right call, but it ruined the game. Like, I really wanted to see Jalen Hurts get the ball, and I think he would have led them back down for a game-tying field goal. And I still think Mahomes would have won the game somehow for Kansas City, like he always does. But that would have been awesome end to that Super Bowl instead of this anticlimactic ending. But I blame Philly's defense for making that mistake at the end of that game. I love Jalen Hurts. He's one of my favorite competitors. And this goes back to college. Alabama, did what they thought was best, but did him so wrong. Right? This guy won a national championship in his sophomore year, undefeated Alabama, leads them back to the national championship game the next year. This is literally a story I tell my kids. And in the championship game, at halftime, gets benched for a freshman, Tua. That is unheard of. That is unheard of betrayal. Like, wow. And of course, it worked out. So Saban looked like a genius. If that didn't work out, honestly, that could have changed the whole Nick Saban legend. If that didn't work out, if they lose that game to Georgia, that could have been the beginning of Georgia's run back then. And it could, like, literally, Georgia could be now what Alabama is if that didn't work out. It was a huge risk. It worked out. So Saban's a genius. And Hurts the next year loses his job to Tua. Sits on his junior year, sits behind Tua after he won a national championship, right? The year before, or he transfers out of there. Oh, he goes to Oklahoma, right? He doesn't quit. He goes to Oklahoma, finishes in the top 3 for the Heisman at Oklahoma, didn't quit there, and came to Philly. Carson Wentz was the guy in Philly, sat behind him and earned his spot. I was the guy saying there's no way this guy's gonna play, gonna be anything and he's worked his way up like an ultimate competitor. He's had every reason to be bitter, to quit, to hate life. Anytime something goes wrong in my kid's life where they're like, life's not fair, I remind them of the Jalen Hurts story. He's an inspirational player that I cheer for all the time, not to mention an absolute beast in fantasy football, right? And when I'm asking you guys to trade, I'm not talking fantasy, I'm talking real life. Would you want Jalen Hurts as your quarterback? All right, so let's go over our games on a commercial here. We're going to go into the YouTube chat and set up our draft response for the fantasy football draft, what we're about to do. Assuming you want to stay on for this, it's already 9:30 here. We're just having fun. I don't know exactly how long it'll take us. When I do these drafts, like it's every 30 seconds. I got my picks ready to go, but we can't promise that everyone will be able to do that here tonight. I would think it's going to take us at least an hour to do a 6-round draft, even if we do a minute each. So if you want to do the draft, we'd ask that you want to stay on for the hour. You don't have to. And also, I need to make our announcements. I plan to give my last take, but you guys kind of got me worked up on Hurts here. Let's set up the fantasy football draft and just get everyone in here. Let's refresh the chat. Have a 6-round draft. There it is. And let's just check in on our game. So they're going into the fourth quarter, 12-point lead. Perfect. We'll be keeping one eye on that. Hopefully we'll get a buzzer beater down the stretch. All right. So I need to put on my glasses to be able to see everything in the chat here. All right. So the first person to respond about Hurts, where did we kind of start this session here? I'm looking for quarterbacks, right? This was kind of, didn't say who you would take or trade. Hurts is top 12. Jalen Hurts. This is all still, I think all this happened. All right. So David was the first one to respond. And he said he would keep CJ Stroud. I can see that. I mean, Stroud really only has 1 year under him. So it's risky, but I can see it probably a better ceiling with CJ Stroud. So David, you get to pick of, we're going to assume we're going to do a 12-team draft. What spot do you want to pick?
Give me the number 3 spot.
All right. So David, if you guys are seeing the screen here, is going to go into number 3 in our fantasy football. Remember, Will's taken Eckler, so we want him to be somewhere in the top 5. Let's save a spot for him.
Got to be 1 so I can get him.
To get his guy here. All right, let's go back over to the YouTube chat here. All right, next up is Sports Lab Podcast. Who's that?
That's me.
Is that Ernest?
Yes, Ernest.
All right, Ernest is next. He's keeping Herbert. All right, I can see that. Herbert, has big arm, a lot of potential, needs to get the right coach, and it's got him coming. All right, you go next. What spot do you want in the draft?
Give me number 4.
All right. Obviously, this is going to be a serpentine draft. You guys all know how fantasy football works. And again, if you're taking a spot, you're committing to be here till we finish the draft, which should be, under an hour, I would think, assuming we can get right into it here.
Ernest, curious, because you're in Philly. What's the attraction to the Chargers?
It's not even about really the Chargers. I'm a 49ers fan. What I heard about the question was like, who would you take in a fantasy draft, or would you trade him for Hurts? For me, I wouldn't trade Brock Purdy for Jalen Hurts. It's nothing against Jalen Hurts. I just like what we have at quarterback in San Francisco right now. Our biggest problem is, paying everybody while Brock Purdy's on his contract now. Once he gets his contract, it's going to be very hard to keep everybody. So
yeah, Purdy is, if you take into account contracts, he becomes like one of the most valuable guys there is, right? Because he's a top 5 performer and, and there. All right. So next up is Nico. Bears Justin Fields. He would keep Fields over Herbert. Over Hurts. Okay, interesting. You can make a case for that. What spot do you want in the draft, Nico? Are you able to stay for the draft? And interested?
Numero uno.
Nico is taking first pick. Right, so you guys know how this works. You'll have last pick in the second round, and then first pick in the third round. All right, cool.
Before you tear me apart, I misunderstood the question. So
I'm
trading
do a
Watson.
redo in there. So you said you would keep Deshaun Watson.
I misread it.
You want to trade Watson for Jalen Hurts?
That's what I was saying. Yes, I want to trade Watson.
You hate Hurts. I mean, 2 years ago, I would
No,
have
no,
said
no. I want to trade. Yeah, I want to trade Watson for Hurts.
so you would take Hurts. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So what pick do you want in the draft?
Give me 8.
8.
We're not doing the weird thing like we're doing a round robin thing, right?
Yeah, round robin.
Okay,
So
I just
well,
wanted to make
serpentine
sure.
it's called, right? So you go higher in the second round if you go later in the first round, right? All right, let's just keep an eye on our game while we're setting this up here. It's 112 to 94. Up next is Lisa Fox, Mahomes. Of course, I wouldn't trade Mahomes. Lisa, are you wanting to do the fantasy football draft? If so, which pick do you want out of what's left?
I don't think I'm going to be able to stay for another hour,
Okay,
unfortunately.
yeah, no problem. We're
Greg, you skipped me.
Celtics game that we're already kind of late to be starting the draft. All right, let's go. Next is Alex Jordan Love, not a chance. I would have disagreed up until the playoff game, but after seeing that playoff game, I think it could go either way. Are you interested to stay for the draft, Alex?
Yeah, I'm curious to see which playoff game are you talking about?
Jordan Love just won a playoff game against Dallas. Before that, I would have I would have traded Jordan Love in a heartbeat.
Okay.
All
Well,
year
you look
I
at his
would have
stats.
said-
He had 20. He had a 20
Jalen Hurts
touchdown
has led a
at 1
team to a
interception
Super
ratio in
Bowl.
his game.
To me, you're taking
Great. It's Jordan
stats
Love
over a Super Bowl. All right, what pick do you want in the draft, Alex?
It's Jordan Love for sure. I'll take number 2.
All right. You can take
Is that
Jordan
like a
Love
bad
there, Bud.
choice, Greg? I feel like the later ones are solid sometimes. I'm all alone.
Yeah, I mean, there's different strategies to it. It kind of evens out over time. Let's see. All right, next up was UFC June. Who's that? And the Burrow.
It's Jeremiah here.
All right, I can see not trading Burrow. That makes sense. Jeremiah, did you want to do the fantasy draft? If so, what pick do you want?
Absolutely. Give me pick 5.
All right, cool. Jeremiah. All right. Next up is Cam Gian. Is that Cam? And you said you would trade Purdy, right?
Cam Jishin. So yeah, I would do it. Obviously, I mean Jalen Hurts with the tush push. He's still finished top 5 quarterbacks. He's due for a rushing touchdown every game. That's 6 points I like to get on my team. So
Well,
yeah,
we're talking fantasy here too. Your actual 49ers.
Yeah, if I had last year I had Burrow and Stroud on my fantasy team.
But we're not talking fantasy, I'm saying. We're talking in real life. Would you want to trade Purdy for Hurts to the 49ers?
Oh, I see. Oh, no, then no way. The contract, Hurts, he's got one of the most expensive contracts in the league. Niners couldn't afford him without cutting a bunch of pieces. So
yeah,
that's too much.
Yeah, fair. All right, next up is Dexter, Joe Burrow. Hell no.
You didn't put Cam in the draft.
What pick do you want, Dexter? Are you able to stay for the draft? Oh, Cam, yeah, are you able to stay on?
Yeah, I can stay on. I'll take the last pick.
All right. All right, next was
I'll take pick 10.
Dexter's taking pick 10. All right. The thing with being at the end is you got to have 2 picks ready to go right in a way. You know, I like it if you know what you're doing. It eliminates the doubt. You don't have to be like, should I reach and take this guy? Is that guy going to be there? But you got to have 2 ready to go right away. Can be, harder when none of us have researched at this point, obviously. Although I did throw my first $10 down on Underdog last night and did a draft after we finished to practice up for this for tonight. All right, next up is where do we leave off here? Rain.
No, you skip me, Greg. Tyler.
Ty. Okay, yeah, Ty.
Wait, did Alvin go? Did Alvin go?
And Alvin too, right? Alvin's Eagles fan. Yeah, I lost track here.
Yeah, Alvin should be up.
All right.
Alvin is not an Eagles fan.
Definitely not. Look at this.
You're not trading Dak for Hurts?
Hell to the no. Well, I'll trade Hurts to Alabama.
Alvin, I thought you said Daniel Jones was your first pick.
Daniel Jones.
What are you able to stay on for the fantasy draft, Alvin?
Yeah. I'll take 11.
11. All right. Next up is Tyler.
Yep.
So Daniel Jones, you would trade him. He's probably gone this year, right? They're going to draft a quarterback, I would think.
Yeah, I think they'll draft. I think they're going to, like I said, I actually said they shouldn't draft a quarterback just because they have so many holes in their roster anyway. But I think they're going to go that route. I think he'll start, ultimately fail, and then he'll be gone by the end of next year because he has I think there's after this year, they can get rid of him. That was in the contract.
Yeah, it was funny. I did this draft last night, a fantasy draft, and I needed a backup quarterback in the last round. And Daniel Jones was out there, and because he runs, he's usually solid top 15, a good backup fantasy quarterback. But then I'm like, I don't even know if he's going to be on the team next year. I can't and this is a league, when you play best ball, there's no free agency, right? So I'm like, I gotta take the Carolina quarterback who at least I know is going to be on the team next year. I can't risk it.
And he's injury prone.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
Very injury
All
prone.
right, what pick are you able to stay on? What pick do you want?
Yeah. I'll take the 6th.
All right. Next up is Rain. And Raiders need a quarterback, so of course they would love Hurts.
Oh, and the heartbeat, right? We'll take Russell Wilson too. I think anybody we can take right now, the free agents, is an upgrade. I mean, we got one of the best receivers in the league. We got to find somebody that can get the ball to him. So
I agree. It ain't Jimmy G.
Definitely not Jimmy. He was good in town for the ladies, but he had great jersey sales. Sold out the first day they were live.
That is funny. Are you able to stay for the draft?
Yeah, I'll take 7.
All right. Rain is going 7. All right. Next is
that's me.
Okay, Andrew.
That's Andrew. I guess Cruiser could join me too if Cruiser's still staying on. We could tag team it. Cruiser.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down with that.
All right, so Andrew's here. So actually, that's what I was going to say for anyone who's left who wants to play is you can pick who you want to partner with. Obviously, you guys will need to decide on a player and so pick based on, personality you think you might jive with. And you pick based on what pick they have. But yeah, we'll start to let people partner up here. All right. So let's see who's next, who's left here. So Cruiser, Stafford, who's UFC June. We already do that one?
Yeah. I was actually answering Andrew.
Okay.
In the chat.
Okay, cool. But would you trade Stafford for Hurts? I mean, Hurts is younger, so yeah.
Yeah, for that reason. But I think Stafford's the only quarterback in the NFC better than Hurts right now.
I don't hate that.
Right now, I don't know about right now. In his prime,
Stafford's still
Stafford.
good.
Let's
He's
see.
the only acceptable answer in my book, Jeremiah. Definitely not
That
Dak.
it? Everybody else, did everybody chimed in here who wants to play fantasy football? Did anybody else comment late? Alex, I think you already went, right? All right, I think that's everybody on this. All right, so really I'm the only one who's left here. And for Bucks and Patriots, my two teams, we would take Jalen Hurts and a heartbeat. But we saw there was 10 teams here that were not willing to take Hurts, which kind of is what they were saying in that what they were saying in that article, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. People love their guy. Let's just check in on our game. Boston's opened it up, by 20 with 6 minutes to go.
It seems like we all took the points in that one. That's an L for everyone.
Yeah. We might as well dive into our draft here. And actually, before we do that, this is a good spot for us just to do our updates and announcements. So tonight concludes 3 weeks of us doing the show. It's been awesome. It's been fun. Our first night, I think we had 6 people on the show. Tonight we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 17 people, right? Which is amazing. Our views have been going up. Typically when you launch a show, the way it goes is your first week, you get anywhere from 0 to 100 views. I mean, when you first do anything on YouTube, nobody knows who you are at all, right? So you might have 10 views, you might have 20 views. Right from the beginning, we were getting about 100 views per episode, which is a fantastic start. And then wherever you start, you typically double every week. So week 2, we were expecting to be at 200. Week 3, we're at 400. And last week we had an episode it was the North Carolina game. I guess a lot of people wanted to see what RJ Davis was doing. We were covering that. That episode did 500 views. So I'm really happy with that. This week's been kind of up and down. The college red zone idea didn't perform as well as I thought it would be. Well, I'm excited to see what tonight does. Last night, I think we had around 200 views. We've been kind of up and down. Things are tinkering. That's what happens in marketing and being online. We're going to continue to tinker and tweak with things. Next week, we'll be focused on game of the night. We're going to do Wednesday night is the big showdown with Marquette and UConn. So that we'll do college on Wednesday. It's an 8:30 game, but we'll be on at 7 every night. Tuesday is Boston Cavs. I think that's going to be an awesome NBA game. I forget what's on Monday right now. But we'll be on every night at 7. Monday, are we getting Golden? Oh, we get Wemby. Golden State Spurs is the game of the night on 8 p.m. tip on so we'll get everyone's take on Wemby. That'll be awesome. So we're moving forward with the show. I'm fully, committed to us continuing to do this. And this is really just the beginning of us launching this sports brand. The show is one part of it. We're moving into some other parts as well. We need to start taking content from the show, turning it into reels, producing other forms of content, actually marketing the show. You don't really want to start marketing something till you have it, right? And that's what we've been doing these 3 weeks. After this, we'll starting to market it. And that's what I do, is run a marketing agency. So we'll be able to, kick that into gear and ideally continue doubling every week. We also want to expand into doing interviews with business professionals about what they've learned in sports. If you were here the first week, we did some testing of this idea. We had some business professionals come on. I decided not to blend that into this show, and we're going to have that as a separate division. I want to expand our hours and have a West Coast team, maybe a day team. It seems like a lot of people love to watch day sports talk shows during the day. Pat McAfee, we're going to go back to doing some Pat McAfee response stuff. So I want to have a team that his show it goes from 12 to 3, and a group that responds to whatever he's saying in the afternoons. Those are all things that are coming. It'll take time to come. What I'm really trying to paint a picture of here is that We're building this as a team, as a community, and for everyone who gets the vision and wants to be a part of this, my personal commitment is that we will do everything we can to find a room for everyone to fit in some capacity on our team. It's my absolute dream to be able to make a living talking about sports and watching sports. Then I'm on a mission to fulfill that dream for me, for my kids. My kids haven't even come on yet. You know, my son's been in the chat a couple times in YouTube. My daughter's 22 and still kind of shy, but I'm like, no, when football season comes, they'll be on here. So I want to have a business that I can do with my kids, because we all live in different places now, watching sports together, talking sports together. And as I crack the code of doing that, I'm not going to pretend I have all the answers now. You know, this thing's not making any money now, but as I crack the code to that, we'll all be a part of that. There'll be a place for all of us, whether you want to spin off and do your own thing, whether you want to be on our team, you know, in a part-time job, or there'll be lots of different roles for everyone as we continue to grow this thing. So we're just at the very beginning. March Madness is coming. We're going to need, if we cover all of March, right now the show is 7 to 10. If we cover all of March Madness, I can't do this. So I'll need people that can run other shifts during March Madness. I have sometimes I need to travel. I need to drive over to visit my kids once in a while, or go on a business trip, or just, you know, if I ever need a sick day. So we need people that can fill in and host the main show sometimes too. So that's kind of the vision of where everything is going with the show. I am excited. We are announcing our first 2 hires tonight. The 2 people that I'm bringing on board. They're people that have been to almost every show right from the beginning. They're people that you got to know on this show. And that's one of the things that I've been really looking for is almost every take we've had have been pretty good quality sports takes. So nobody here has said anything that's like not a sports fan, not worthy of being said. And even if you're not, we have grace. You know, if you saw, you know, last night we had someone that didn't know the rules of fantasy football, right? We still welcome them and explained everything. And we want to be a place where we accept everyone, encourage everyone, and give a place where people can come learn about sports too. That's okay. You don't have to, you know, be the best in your takes. But the takes we've had have been solid, but these ones have been extra good. Then these are people that have been in the chat constantly. They probably have encouraged you. They're probably someone who's asked you something that's an extra level of facilitation that I'm kind of looking for, where you're not just, you know, giving me your take, but you're, you know, kind of responding to someone else's take, or asking them, hey, what do you think about this? And these 2 guys in particular have done a lot of that, and that's what's really made them stand out and had them be our first 2 hires today. So I'm excited to let you guys know that Cameron is joining our team. Let me put him into the spotlight here. And also, and it's going to be great to have Cameron's take from the West Coast, from California. Most of his takes are very much about his home teams, which brings an extra insight to those home teams that we don't always get from everyone. So, and those are better takes. And then our second team member tonight that I'm announcing is David. David has given us a lot of hometown takes from Houston. And again, has been someone who, when he gives his take, also kind of asks you guys questions. So I hope you'll join me in congratulating them in the YouTube chat. I hope you'll feel like this is the beginning of all of us continuing to work together, and that you'll continue to plug into the show, and that we'll continue to, you know, bring more people on board as we continue to expand. But I want to give each of you 2 guys a minute just to kind of share about what your experience has been like over the next 3 weeks, and last 3 weeks rather, and what you're most excited about kind of going forward. Let's go first to David.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on the team. It's been really fun The only show I missed was last night, and that's because, I mean, you see, I'm in my garage. I've got the people here at home, but yeah, it's been awesome again to hear everybody's different takes. You got people and loving the Cleveland Browns like Will. We got people like Alvin loving the Cowboys. We got people who played basketball overseas. We got people who played in the NFL. That guy played actually for the Texans. So I'm getting to talk to everybody and pick their mind and learning from all y'all. That it's been a lot of fun, and I definitely want to continue doing this.
Awesome. Yeah, we're glad to have you here. And I'm glad you mentioned Vincent. He's continuing on with us in other capacities as well. He just actually got signed to a football contract. So he's playing in one of those other leagues. If you guys didn't meet Vincent, he was on an NFL roster this past
Played for the Texans.
With the Texans, yeah, that's right. And he's going to be a part of the show going forward too. Cameron, yeah, what's it been like for you over these 3 weeks, and what are you most excited about going forward?
Yeah, man, it's been pretty cool getting to meet other fans around the country and get their take on their teams and their opinions as sports, as fans, getting in debates, agreeing with things. I like being able to give my takes on things. And one thing that I'm real excited about is just building this whole thing and watching it grow, right? Making connections with you guys, with more of the fans. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for both of you guys. And that's another thing I forgot to even mention. Both of you guys have been, texting me with ideas and encouragement. I basically have hired somebody to run my marketing agency, and this is what I'm doing full time now. It takes, that much effort for us to have this show happen and for all of us to be here. And so I appreciate you guys have been encouraging me and sending me ideas and just really getting the vision of this. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, I would have done that. I didn't know like that's what you wanted or that's what you needed. And this is all just kind of unfolding right in real time here. What are we looking for? What are we needing? I didn't, know those things to write a list to give everybody and tell what to do. I've learned things from each and every one of you. And I hope that you'll continue to come out and that we're gonna have you be the next person that's stepping into us being a team here. So with that in mind, let's check in on our game. Boston is up 135-110. Wow. Dallas just quit at the end. They just ran out of gas on this. And now we see what happened with that spread. Vegas, it seems like they almost always know something we don't know, right? It just looked too good to be true at 9.5. And it wasn't just us. Everybody was taking it. That's why that number dropped to 7.5, because all the public was jumping on that, thinking Luka could keep it close, and it just it didn't work out. So we're going to see Boston again next week against the Cavs. And like I said, we're going to do the UConn Marquette game and have the Spurs on Monday. It's going to be a fun week. Then the week after, next Saturday, by the way, we're going to do a special episode next Saturday. Like I said, we're going to be expanding our hours. But next Saturday, Houston plays Kansas at 4, and North Carolina plays Duke at 6:30. So those are going to be really fun games that we're going to do. Normally, I don't plan on us working weekends. I don't work at all on Sundays. And so if we ever do have Sundays, we'll need that's again where we'll need help as we continue to grow. All right. So with that in mind, let's hop over to our fantasy football draft. I'm going to not take a team just in case, because it's so late already, just in case anybody, has anything come up and I need to take over your team. No harm or shame in that, because we are already almost to 10 and we're just starting this now. But I think everybody's here because this is fun and excited about fantasy football, just like I am. So let's go up on the clock here. You'll need to pull up on your own and kind of a list of players. We don't have like a master list of players. I can probably pull one up. What were we using last night? I think the underdog underdog ADP I was using. Yeah, here's the underdog ADP. This is the site that I play on, and we're probably going to be doing some drafts on there when the season starts around. It'd be fun, like if we all get in there, and they have leagues for $5 or $10. And then they keep track of everything. And so we'll probably be doing these on a weekly basis going forward, since this was popular here tonight. I felt like last night's fantasy football session was really fun. It's really easy for everyone to have opinions on players when it comes to fantasy. All right, so let's go to Nico is up first on the clock here. We're drafting, just so everybody remembers the positions. Let's put them down the left here. You need a one quarterback. We're not doing any bench. We'll do 2 running backs, 2 receivers, just to keep it simple. We'll cut out the flex just for tonight since it's so late, and have a 6-round draft. All right, this is fun. This is the beginning of my research to see what you guys think of players, right? That's why I'm just as happy to kind of sit back and learn from y'all. All right, Nico, go ahead.
The league gave me 60 seconds. I only need 2. CD Lamb, first pick.
CD Lamb, number 1 overall. Okay. I'm going to mark receivers in green.
We said Alex, PPR, right?
This is PPR, yep. Obviously, we're not playing it out, but This is PPR, yeah. Full PPR. All right, Alex has number 2 pick. I'll put the timer up. We're gonna do let's do 30 seconds per pick.
Sure. I'm smoking some meat, drinking a bourbon. Cheers to David and Cameron. Congratulations, first and foremost. But I can tell Nico's a Bears fan with that pick, obviously. Just botching the first round pick as always, but I will take CMC at 2. Pretty easy.
CMC, yeah, I think he's right now the consensus number 1, right? As far as so this ADP, if you're not familiar with this, is a great tool for seeing what the public is doing, and it tells you about where people are going in the draft. So CMC, solid pick there at number 2. We'll put running backs in orange. David's got number 3 pick. He wanted number 3, so you must have known those 2 guys would be gone. And then you've got your eye on somebody.
Yeah, I was thinking CMC, Tyreek, or Jamar. So I was shocked to see CD. Give me Tyreek.
All right, Tyreek. If we look over here, CD's the public has taken CD a full round above Tyreek there. I mean, CD was better than him down the stretch, in my opinion. Ernest is up next.
Right now, it's not really a hard pick for me. I'm gonna take Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, last year's consensus number 1 overall. So I play in 2 leagues. One is a keeper league since 1995, if you can imagine that. And like one of the guys has CMC, Tyreek, and Breece Hall, and I'm like, nobody's going to beat this dude, right? And we keep our top 3 every year, and he's got those 3. So that's one of the reasons it's so hard for me to win that league. But where I was going with this story is in my other league, I play with family and friends. And it's a high state league, but I paid for my daughter to play in it, and she got first overall pick, and I had second overall pick. And she's kind of like, what should I do? And I told her to take Jefferson, and then I took CMC at number 2, and she slayed me all year long when Jefferson got hurt. She's like, how could you do that to me, Dad? I'm like, I swear, like Jefferson seemed like the less risky pick. He had no injury history at all before last year.
It's a dick move, Greg. Dick move.
I laid it out for her. I'm like, CMC is God, but he gets hurt a lot. And Jefferson has never been hurt and is equal God. So Jeremiah's up at number 5 there. Who do you like?
Chase.
You're taking Jamar Chase. Yeah, he with Burrow coming back should be very solid there. Still hasn't lived up to what he did his rookie year again, but has that potential in him. All right, Tyler, who do you like here?
I'm going to take He's going to keep getting better every year. Really came off the pages the last 2 years. I'm going to take Amos. How is it? Amos St. Brown? Ross St. Brown. Ross St. Brown.
Ramon St. Brown. Yeah, he was really awesome for them in the playoffs and down the stretch. I think he's a really safe, solid pick in the first round. I like him a lot there. Go ahead, Rain.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Can't go wrong with AJ Brown. He did get hurt at the end of last year. If you follow him back to his Tennessee days, he got hurt a lot. So he does have that as he's getting up there in age, but I think he's picked right where he should be picked there. Will's at number 8.
He struggled a little bit last year, but I think he turned out to be pretty good, and I'm surprised he's still here. I'm going to go Brees Hall.
Brees Hall was amazing the last month of the season last year. 80 Underdog has him going at number 6, which means he'd be a great value at number 8. I don't like players from teams that I think are going to be bad, and the Jets always seem to be bad, you know, and he have an injury history from the year before. Those are some concerns, but he was amazing the last month of the season without Rodgers, so he should get better with Rodgers. All right, Andrew and Cruiser's got to talk this one over. You guys each can put out who you want, and we'll put 30 seconds on the clock, and if you can't decide, I'll be the tiebreaker.
I'm thinking either Puka or Gibbs. Me personally, I'm out on Bijan, but you tell me.
I was thinking Puka.
All right, Puka it is.
No, I think y'all want Gibbs.
Nah.
Puka. What a guy who come out of nowhere last year. I mean, literally, that was one of the craziest rookie seasons. I mean, in fantasy seasons, to have a guy go from not being drafted in 99% of leagues last year to now being a first rounder is so rare. I'm literally trying to rack my brain. Like the best I can remember was like Isaac Bruce came out of nowhere. I don't know how far back you guys go, but like I remember but you could see him in camp developing. I watched so much camp. I really loved NFL in August. And there was nothing there from Puka there. I was nosing around in there. I'm like, because, we knew Cooper was hurt. I'm like, somebody's going to step up in here. And there was just no signs in the box scores or any of the games I saw. All right, Dexter's up next.
All right, this is going to be the only pick I'm going to be able to make because I'm going to have to hop off here. But Bijan Robinson.
All right, Bijan Robinson. I wound up, Bijan fell to me in the second round last year, and I was too good not to take. I mean, he was going high first round a lot. In the second round, I couldn't not take him, and I was pretty frustrated with them last year. But they have a new coach. His ceiling, I mean, he could be the number 1 overall player, right? So his ceiling is so high that he deserves to go there. Underdog has him at 8, and he went at 10, so that's a value there. All right, so I'll be taking over this team for Dexter then if he doesn't want to stay or can't stay. And Alvin is up next. Let's just see what's coming on ESPN. They got another game here, right? I can't tell.
I'm going to take Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. All right. We talked about him last
Probably
night.
the Clippers or Lakers.
A lot. I don't really care for Garrett Wilson at all. Based on Rodgers, I'm not sold on Rodgers. All right, Cam's got 2 picks in a row, and then Alvin will be back up, and we'll come back around.
It's Bucks and Bulls.
Bucks and Bulls is up next. Okay.
I didn't realize I was muted, but I'll take Gibbs and then Barkley.
Gibbs and Barkley. So you got your 2 running backs. There's no bench in this. So we got our 2 running backs here. And Alvin is back on the clock.
I'm going with James Cook.
James Cook. I liked him a lot last year. I was getting him in like the 4th or 5th round, and it felt like he came through for me. I mentioned last night, I love ETN. I don't usually like going 2 running backs in a row, but I think he's the best player on the board for me by far. Andrew and Cruiser are up.
Are we the Rams? Do we go with Kyron Williams?
I'll literally have that written down. Kyron Williams, man. Sweet.
The Andrew and Cruiser Rams.
Having all your players on one team. I hope I get you on your bye week. All right, Will's up next.
I'm thinking Taylor or Sam Laporta. I think Jonathan Taylor is gonna be a great running back again. So
Jonathan Taylor.
I'll take 2 number 1s. I'm cool with that.
2 running backs. Yeah, I mean Taylor, has a high ceiling as well. I think in most drafts he's going in the first round. I think in most drafts, right? Where do they have Taylor? 14 here. All right. Rain is up next.
Derrick Henry.
Who is it?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
I thought you said Scary Terry.
He might be a cowboy, but Derrick Henry.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy, 30-year-old bruiser is risky, but if he can stay healthy and beyond Dallas, he'll put up some big numbers and get all the goal line scores down there. All those touchdowns they've been throwing, Dallas throws those little tight end passes. Derrick Henry will eat all that up. All right, Tyler's up next.
All right. I'm gonna take Devon Achane.
Achane. All right. Lots of upside and Achane. A little bit injury plague. We don't know what's going to happen with Mostert.
Greg, you just grilled me on Achane, my pick last night. What's going on?
Well, you were taking him in the first round.
I was taking him in the early second.
Yeah, here's about where he should go. To me, Achane's a gambler's pick. Like he's not a safe pick. When I play, I take safe picks in the first rounds and then I beat you with my sleepers. If you're not good at sleepers, you need to gamble. I want to know for sure that when I play you during the season, my first and second round picks are highly likely to be on the field. And Achane, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, those are all guys that missed games last year. Kyron Williams too. Barkley for sure, Barkley's on my do not draft list. So Achane to me is a high risk, high reward, super high reward player. But that's about right where he should go based on talent. All right, what do you like for your second pick here, Jeremiah?
Kenneth Walker III.
Kenneth Walker III. I had him his rookie year, and he saved my team. And he was solid again last year. I think the big question mark with him is they got another running back in there. If they start splitting those carries, could be a risk. He does get hurt a bit too, but yeah, he's a solid running back. All right, Ernest is up next.
All right, I see a lot of running backs getting picked. I think I'm gonna break this streak. I'm taking Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta, last year's number 1 tight end. He's had one good year. It was kind of a down year for tight ends if you look at, historically. But it's his rookie year. He should only get better. So
I just took my pick, man.
I had to get on the board before somebody took him. I'm as soon as Andrew and them was talking about Sam Laporta, I said, I hope they don't take Laporta.
I don't blame you. I was thinking this next turn. I was like, oh, that's exactly who I had outballing.
Give me Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce.
Ernest took my pick. I had to go tight end.
Eckler's about to be Ernest's number 1 running back.
Yeah, Kelce was my go-to first-round pick for years. I love building around the tight end. If your team, if you can match the other squads and then beat them at tight end, that's how you can win in fantasy. Kelce now, he's just getting a little old. I stopped drafting him last year, but at this point, he's pretty good value. All right, Alex is up next with CMC.
Cameron, I would offer you CMC for Gibbs and Barkley. I know you're a homer, but just for sake of time, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take AJ Brown.
He's gone.
Is he? Did I miss that? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he's in top 7.
I'm going to do my homer pick, then I'm going to take Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. He's turning 30 this year, right? Or is he already be 30?
Yeah, he is.
Something came out today about if they can't figure out his contract, he might be cut.
He's not
I'm
going
not
to be
gonna
cut.
lie with you, Alex. I would accept that trade. I'll
Talking
find
about
myself
it.
another running back.
Again, Nico, I'm poking fun. Bears fan. He's not going to be cut. Come on, man. He'll be fine. Even if he is, he'll find a team. Maybe he'll go to the Bears.
Hey, who knows?
All right,
Anywho,
Nico's got 2 picks in a row here.
David Montgomery. And then give me Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is on my do not draft list.
Why is that, Greg?
From last year. He's just too old. And the whole going into last year, the offense was unknown how the whole offense was going to produce. But yeah, 30-year-old running backs don't have a good track record of getting better. If anything, he's going to get worse. He missed a lot of time this past year too.
AJ Dillon's no joke too. AJ Dillon's a really good backup.
AJ Dillon has broke my heart the last 2 years. He can't play.
He's tough. He's tough. He's not going to be a Packer. He won't be.
He can. He was good, but not anymore. I don't know what happened to him. All right, Alex is back up again. So you don't need any more running backs. You can only play 2. We're not using any bench.
Gotcha. I'm going to go for a bit of a reach here, I think. Actually, no, I'm not. Nico, I'm going to take DJ Moore. I think he's going to have a great year no matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah, DJ Moore in the 3rd round, I think is great value, especially if Caleb comes there. Probably mid 3rd round, even with Fields there. So I think he's a good pick there. You need a receiver. He's probably the best receiver on the board still. All right, David is up next.
Yeah, I don't see him on there, so give me Jahmyr Gibbs.
Gibbs, Cam took him here.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, I knew I had to miss it. Give me Raheem Mostert.
Mostert led the league in touchdowns this past year. I'm not
33.
Yeah, he's really over the hill. I had Mostert every year he was on Miami till last year. I gave up on him and he broke out. You remember what he did in that playoff game for the Niners against the Packers? I mean, he carried the Niners to the Super Bowl and broke Aaron Rodgers' heart. And I'm like, this guy is awesome. He can play. I saw it in that game. And then he sucked for 2 years on Miami and killed my roster. And then last year he exploded. Yeah, I'm not a Mostert fan though with age. Age is a big thing for me. It's injury risk. All right, Ernest is up next.
I'm gonna take another receiver so I get a receiver out of the way. I'm taking Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Likely going to be back to Tampa. He's in his 30s. I was kind of down on him last year. I thought he would fall off a lot with Brady gone. I was really surprised how well he played. I did not draft him at all last year in any of my 92 teams. And so I think he's solid there. He's older. You know, he could go to KC or somewhere and be amazing if he wants to chase rings. I would love to see him do that. All right, Jeremiah's up.
Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, a little uncertain if he'll be back to the Niners. Honestly, if I was running the Niners, I would trade Debo and start featuring Ayuk. I think he is the future.
Agreed.
There. You could get a lot for Debo right now. And he always gets hurt, Debo. Like that's the move. I hope they don't lose Ayuk. Yeah, I could see if I'm New England, he's one of the guys I target to like throw some big money at. All right, Tyler's up. And if he goes to New England, that kills his career in fantasy. Tyler's up next.
All right. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs. I love Stephon Diggs last year. He's 30. I'm still very high on Diggs. I see him as 1st round talent that you got in the 3rd round here. Unless he some reason leaves Buffalo. All right, Rain is up.
I'm going to take Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. He had one of the all-time greatest fantasy football seasons of all. 3 years ago, I drafted him a lot the year after that, and he was out for the year. And last year he was kind of disappointing. And then Puka came back. I don't know. They're going to be 31 now. That worries me. Stafford worries me there too. Puka worries me there. There's a lot. I'm probably not taking Cooper Kupp at all. Will, you got your 2 running backs, Will, so you need receivers.
The way
tight end.
things are going right now, I mean, I'm going Josh Allen. There's a lot of wideouts left I can still get. I trust a lot of these guys. Give me the best quarterback in the league. Or the
Yeah,
best
Josh
quarterback in
Allen,
fantasy.
consensus #1 quarterback by far last year.
Mhm.
So I think he's a safe bet to be in the top 3. All right, Andrew and Cruiser are up next.
All right, so
Andrew.
Cruiser, no one can take a running back other than Alvin. I think we got to take receiver, and I can't believe Rain didn't take Devontae Adams.
Oh, no one did take Devontae Adams.
Or we could go with Rasheed Rice. I'm either way. Yeah, but he's still.
I was thinking we could
He's
look
still
at
a
tight
top dog,
ends.
but I mean, he ain't got a quarterback. But you know what? He might not even be a Raider next year.
I was
So who
thinking
do you think, Cruiser?
either Adams or Trey McBride.
I think Adams. I think the third
Adams.
best tight end here is kind of. I wouldn't feel good about getting the third best guy in the 3rd round. Obviously, receivers were pretty deep, but up to you. You make the call, Cruiser.
Screw it, man. We're going Trey McBride.
McBride. All right. Yeah, he kind of surprised everybody last year at the tight end position.
What team is he on?
He's Arizona's tight end. Arizona has I don't consider their offense to be good or stable. No one really knows what's going on. I'm staying away from McBride, but I mean, based on last year's stats, he's the 3rd best tight end.
I watched a few of Arizona games, and I would say he's like one of the very few positives that they have.
Yeah. And it seemed like he got better when Kyler Murray came on. And so if Murray's coming back, which it looks like, then McBride and him should be together. They don't have a receiver. They got to go to McBride. They don't have any receivers in there that are worth taking. All right, I'm up next here. I'm going to go with one of my favorite players, I think, who's ready for a breakout year. I'm going to go with Devonta Smith here. I feel like there's some injury risk with AJ Brown. If that happens, Devontae becomes featured. And even if it doesn't, 2 years ago, he was top 10. Last year, he was still productive last year. He'd step back a little bit. And but I think he's still young and still getting better every year. And I like that passing attack. All right, Alvin's up next.
I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. Surprised me the year he had last year. Thought he was kind of done and over the hill, and he'd been injured the 2 years before that. He's solid in PPR. He catches the ball and runs the ball. He's a little long in the tooth now. They also drafted a running back that they supposedly love. Right. I don't know if we have any of our Saints guys here tonight. We need to get some insights from them. I love having the local guys that are, up on this stuff. All right. Cam's got 2 in a row and already has his running backs.
Yeah, I'll go with I think this guy will have a breakout season this year. DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf. I mean, he's already had his breakout season. This guy was going.
I'm talking fantasy, like top receiver in fantasy. He hasn't had one of those yet. He's put up great numbers. But I want to see like lead the league in touchdowns and get about like 1,500 receiving yards. That'd be cool. Another guy I'll take is he's a touchdown machine, Deebo Samuel.
Boom. Deebo Samuel.
Love that pick. Love that pick.
49ers guy. Yeah, both Metcalf and Deebo are probably high third round picks that you got at the end here. So the good talent to scoop up that fell to you. Metcalf, that 1 year with Russell Wilson, he was like top 3 in the league in receiving him, from what I remember. And that year where he chased that guy down in the interception.
Yeah, Buda Baker.
He needs some quarterbacking that's better. I don't trust Geno. And I do like JSN over there, but I think Tyler Lockett will be out, and that'll make room for both of them. All right, Alvin is up next.
Give me a good old Dakota Rain Prescott.
Ew.
That even a surprise?
Hey, he a real homer, man. He got the outfit on. You knew Dak was gonna come up in one of these picks.
Either Dak or Tony Pollard.
All the empty calories. He gets all the empty calories to pad the fantasy.
Not the empty calories.
All right, let's see what is on the board here in the 4th round. I'm working off, you guys can see the screen, right? I'm working off my underdog list.
Is there like a website that will show us who had the best drafted team or something? That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, it's all on opinion. So I'll make you guys a video of who has the best teams, Will, based on my review. So based on ADP, Nico Collins is a steal at this point. Let me just see. I don't like taking a rookie here. It's too risky. We don't know where he's going to go. Rashee Rice, I like, but I think KC could add someone else, a star in there. I was going to go Metcalf if he was still there. I usually like to grab a tight end by now too. But given the choices that are here, I'm going to go Nico Collins. All right, Andrew and Cruiser are up.
Is the quarterbacks blue or red?
Quarterbacks are blue. Oh,
Red.
they should be red. Yeah.
Red. I'm thinking Devontae Adams here. I wasn't expecting him to be there on the wraparound. And Greg just said that the Kansas City could be looking to add someone. That'd be a heck of a somebody to add.
Oh my God, the Raiders would never allow that. That would be.
I don't know, man. Unless we trade him out for Snead. I mean, because Snead's shutting down, for a couple games. So
if you guys give Mahomes Devontae Adams, you deserve to lose.
they should be cursed for 100 years if they give Devontae.
If anything, Aaron Rodgers would be the one trading for him in New York.
Well, we'll take Sauce. We'll take Sauce. We need a lockdown corner because we got to go up against Mahomes.
Right. Yeah, good. I was thinking that though, Andrew. Definitely Devontae Adams. I was like,
he's getting up there too. Devontae is at that age where he's going to be losing a step too. Like he's 31, going on 32, I think, this year.
He knows the route tree. He'll be all right.
It's a great time for the Raiders to trade him because, like you said, Greg, he's getting up there in age, 31, 32. We get a couple good ball players for him. The Raiders are going to be a defensive team regardless. So
I think trading him could make sense, especially if you're not trying to win now. But not trading him in the division. You don't want to go against them.
Absolutely not. He got to go farther away from Kansas City as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're already talking about trying to get Mike Evans. It's like, come on.
Even then, you never know. I'm sure the Milwaukee Bucks were like, we want Drew Holiday out of our division. We're trading him to Portland, and then he wound up back in Boston. You never know.
Right.
All right, Will's up next. You got receivers and a tight end.
Olave.
Chris Olave.
That's a steal right there. I don't know. No one's taken him yet.
Yeah, Olave, I was high on him last year, and he did okay. They have some other receivers over there. That guy.
Where's Keenan at? Is Keenan Allen been taken yet?
No. Huh. Keenan Allen.
Oh,
might be. I mean, he was sneakily one of the top receivers last year, wasn't he?
Keenan, in the first half of the year, he was like the number 1 receiver in the league last year. He faded down the stretch, but I still think he finished top 5. He's going to be 34 though. I've been saying not to take him for years, and he's been proving me wrong.
He's just consistent, man.
Yeah, but that doesn't. You're fighting father time. but he's good value at this point. He has a lot of upside. All right, Rain is up next. He's got his
we're gonna take Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I mean, Jacobs won me my league 2 years ago. That was a best ball league, not my real league. Yeah, he's has a lot of potential and was decent last year. Tyler's up next.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Isaiah Pacheco.
Pacheco. Another guy I was high on last year. You know, when you score as much as Kansas City does, you're going to get a lot of goal line touches. I figured he'd get all the goal line touchdowns, and he did even more than that last year. All right, Jeremiah's up. He's got his receivers already.
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes, the bust of the year last year. We'll see. This is exactly where I got suckered into taking him last year. I'm like, in the 4th round, Mahomes is still there. You got to be kidding me. And he didn't even finish in the top 10 for fantasy last year.
Like you said, he's going to get some weapons, we think.
Yeah, I mean, the year before he had no weapons and he was top 3. He's been top 3 every year his whole career. I don't know what happened last year. Offensively, it was just his worst year, which just makes it so much more surprising that he won the Super Bowl. Ernest is up next. He's already got his receivers. He needs running backs and a quarterback.
So I'm surprised nobody has taken him yet. I guess because he was hurt last year, and I talked about him previously. I'm taking Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. Yeah, he was going consensus 1st round last year. If he can bounce back to that, he's coming off a bad injury.
Give me Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. His numbers were surprisingly down too. I almost thought they weren't going to give him the MVP last year because compared to the other year he won the MVP, he had like 40-something touchdowns. Last year, his numbers were not good in terms of passing.
I'm looking for red, Greg. Red.
Oh, yeah, red. There we go. All right. Next up is Alex.
Again, Cameron, I want to take George Kittle here. He was born in Madison, Wisconsin, but I'm going to have to go with Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews. Does anyone remember Mark Andrews in college?
Oklahoma, baby.
Yeah, he was on that Oklahoma team. Baker Mayfield was throwing a CeeDee Lamb and Mark Andrews. Like, no wonder he won the Heisman. I don't know what the Browns were thinking drafting him when you got that kind of talent surrounding you, making you look good.
Nobody liked that
He's
pick.
up next.
It was like
Let's
they
go
figured it out like the night
Ramondre
before.
Stevenson. And Ramondre Stevenson and then Jalen Waddle.
Ramonde is he 2 years ago he was top 10, was catching the ball a lot. Last year Zeke really cut into his numbers. I don't think Zeke will be back though. He's got to be almost done. And
it was
then
Josh Allen though, Greg, until the last night. They were supposed to take Josh Allen, which is frustrating, but whatever.
Who was
the Browns? Out of all those QBs, they take Baker.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Allen number 1 would have been pretty bold.
He had a lot of potential.
Well, obviously he panned out too.
I know.
All right, we're in a 6th round draft here, right? So we're coming down the stretch run here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see probably the run on tight ends and quarterbacks coming here. All right, Alex is up next.
I got a plan. This is a PPR league. I'm going to get grilled. Jordan Love.
Jordan Love. I mean, he was top 5 last year. He was a big this year.
He's gonna dump off to Aaron Jones. I got Aaron Jones.
Quarterbacks are red. Yeah, you got the stacking. Some people love the stack. To me, that's high risk, high reward to get players from the same team and stack them like that. David's up next.
I don't see him on there. James Conner.
James Conner. I've been avoiding him for years, and he's been awesome the last couple of years.
Very consistent.
Yeah, I mean he's old and he's on a bad team, but like he keeps proving me wrong. He's got to run out eventually. Ernest is up next.
So for me, like I'm kind of thinking really I'm going quarterback, but I'm trying to think whether I'd say CJ Stroud and Herbert. And the more I think about it, depending on who my next pick or if my next pick is going to be picked, I'm taking Herbert.
All right, Justin Herbert at quarterback. So Herbert, oh, that's quarterback should be red there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. This should be red. Makes it easier to find them. 5, 6 quarterbacks gone. All right, Jeremiah's up next.
There's a homer pick, but he's still available. We'll go Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, what are you guys hearing about him? Is he in line to come back? Because he was
Right now, I haven't heard. I would cut him if I were in charge, and I think Chase Brown, a rookie we had last year, is actually going to get the most carries. It'd be ridiculous to take him here in a draft like this, but look out for Chase Brown, everyone.
Yeah, Chase Brown is on a lot of people's sleeper charts already. You know, maybe Mixon will come back for less. I don't know what the market for him is going to be, but
Not with all the other running backs available.
Exactly, but he's productive and fits in there. I'd like to see him work it out to stay and maybe take a pay cut. And all right, next up is Tyler.
Let me get Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence really disappointed me last year. They can't possibly be that bad again, can they? Or I'm reminded of that quote, we are who we are. We are who our record says we are. Yeah, I thought the Jags were ready to break out last year. And I'm still kind of betting on them taking ETN so high. All right, Rain is up.
Take David Njoku, tight end, Cleveland.
Are you kidding me? I'm flustered now.
Yeah, it's some big games down the stretch.
He's the most talented tight end. I'm telling you, he is a big boy. He's got big hands, athletic. I am literally so flustered right now, though. What do I even
take him? You wanted him next.
I did not think anybody was gonna take him. I'm shocked. I'll recover on the tight end. I'll just go Cooper. Give me Cooper.
Which tight end is it?
Amari Cooper.
Oh, you already don't have your receiver.
I need to recover on my tight end.
Oh, you need a receiver. Yeah, Amari Cooper here is solid. Like he was going in the third or fourth round pretty steadily last year.
Was Njoku like he was top 3 or 4 probably, wasn't he? He was one of the best tight ends, I think.
Definitely down the stretch. I don't remember.
He was top 5 last year.
Did he finish top 5? Nice. Yeah, I mean that's all with Flacco, so it's a little risky. I don't know what he's going to do with Deshaun and Njoku.
They had like 5 quarterbacks last year.
All right, Andrew and Cruiser.
Yeah. The
The
3 people after us have their running backs. So Rachaad White is my running back pick, but we'll wait on that. I'd say Tyler, just because of the dual threat.
I agree. Let's go dual threat it up. That way we can kill on the back, kill from running back's perspective.
Yeah, and Greg, you can just throw in Rachaad White now if you want to, because nobody else can draft a running back.
Well, he'll be your pick over here. Yeah. Rachaad White. Yeah, I loved him last year, going right around the same spot. I mean, he finished top 10. I think Tampa's going to bring somebody else in, but I said that last year too, and they didn't. He's not that efficient in the run game. And who was your main pick?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Yep. Let's go crazy.
Yeah.
I like our team.
The running yards make a big difference with Murray. All right, let's make that red. All right, so Yeah, it's good. As you can see, Andrew was looking at what the other teams are going to take to figure out what he should take. I'm not too worried about tight end. There's a lot of tight ends I like this year, so I need to get my quarterback before Cam goes. Do I break his heart and take Brock Purdy? I'm gonna take Joe Burrow. Think he can rebound and be a top 3 quarterback this year.
That's
I'm
great.
surprised somebody took Joe Burrow sooner. I'm
Greg.
surprised he was still on the draft board this late.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's great value in 5th round for sure.
Yeah, he kind of fell to me. I think he'll be top 3. Obviously, coming off an injury breaks my rule, but at this point in the draft, it's either him or Purdy, and I like Burrow's much better than Purdy. Alvin's up.
I'm gonna go with TJ Hawkins. I'm gonna go with TJ Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, he was having a great year last year till he got hurt.
Alvin, surprised you didn't take Tony Pollard there.
Nah.
They're probably bringing in Derrick Henry, right? All right, Cam's got his last 2 picks here. He needs quarterback and tight end.
Yeah, so the quarterback I'm gonna go with, who is actually doing really well last year until he went down. Another dual threat type quarterback headed into his 2nd season. Colts QB Anthony Richardson Jr.
Anthony Richardson over Purdy and some other good quarterback. The other running quarterback. I thought you were going to say Fields there.
And
Did
then
anyone
for
take? No one took.
I think with Richardson is the injury risk, but yeah, he's got Jalen Hurts type numbers potentially.
Is CJ going to be drafted in the top 10? Did we just miss him? What's the deal?
I was either going to pick CJ Stroud. I was either between CJ Stroud or Herbert, and I just took Herbert because that's my guy.
Yeah, it looks like one of you guys are gonna get a nice steal. And then so for
What?
tight end, man, I think every fantasy football player who's ever had this guy on his team has been waiting for him to break out. I'm gonna go with Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, oh my gosh.
Atlanta, they just need a quarterback, man. Let's see what they do at that position during the draft or this offseason. Cousins is on the market.
Could be Fields. Could be Fields.
Could be Fields. I like Fields in Atlanta.
You know, Kyle Pitts wasn't bad his rookie year, but the last 2 years have been abysmal.
Yeah, the coach hasn't used him. That's Arthur Smith did not use him at all. If we got any Falcons fans in here to attest, but
I just like if the Falcons players, Drake London, who I'm surprised no one's taken, and Pitts, if they turn out to be studs, then Arthur will be the worst coach of all time, right? I have to think that those guys are not that good, or else he would have been using them. It just right. I think that's what's going to wind up happening to Atlanta. I don't see things working out for them there. All right, Alvin's got his last pick here. He needs a running back, right? No, receiver.
No. Yeah. So one question, is this just a fantasy draft for tonight, or is this something to carry through for the season?
No, we're not going to play this one out.
Okay, then if we're not going to play this one out, I can't believe nobody's taking this person. I'm going to take Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, yeah, I love him.
Yeah, good pick, Alvin.
Really, I like to look at NFL playoffs to find sleepers for the next year, and Flowers was the man. So I think he's going to continue to get better, and is a great pick there. Could easily be a 4th or 5th round pick. All right, so I'm up next. I got to go tight end here. You know, Kittle to me is so boom and bust at tight end. I like steady performers. Don't get hurt. I'm gonna take Dalton Kincaid here as my tight end. All right, you guys wanted Rashid White. Will is up
I'll
next.
take the big risk. I'll take the only rookie. I think the only rookie in the draft. I go Brock Bowers.
Well, you don't have a tight end yet. You need a tight end.
Brock Bowers, is he not a tight
Oh,
end?
Brock Bauer. I thought you were going
No.
receiver. I jumped the gun there. I am kind of surprised we all stayed away from the rookie receivers. This ADP, look how high they have Marvin Harrison going. That's
Keep in mind, well, you don't know who his quarterback is, so that could be a dangerous pick.
I mean, who else would you take? Like, would you take Kittle's Kittle's Kittle. I don't know who else you could really take.
I mean, Brock Bowers tight end. Can't miss tight end prospect. So
I don't like Ingram or Goddard or Kincaid.
Don't name anybody else. We got some sleepers we're waiting on.
Yeah.
I already took Kincaid. So yeah, Brock Bowers is solid there. All right, Rain is up next.
I need a quarterback. So let's see. Let's go with Tua.
Yeah, he was kind of up and down. Of course, he has those concussion worries. But with those two awesome receivers, he should be putting up big numbers. He's still young, should be getting better. All right, Tyler's up next.
Okay, my fault. I need a tight end. You know what? He had 114 catches last year. He really stepped up after leaving the Giants. Give me Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. Yeah, about the only Jacksonville player that kind of performed like I expected last year. Solid pick there. Jeremiah's up next.
I gotta go Kittle here.
Kittle, yeah, at this point. Kittle's boom or bust, and he gets hurt, but it's worth it at this point. Ernest is next. He needs a running back.
In a running back. Okay. So for my running back, if he's not taken, I'm taking. Was Bijan already taken? Yeah, he was already taken. I'm gonna hit this one in left field. I'm taking Saquon.
He's gone.
Oh, he's going. Wow.
Yeah, he went in the first round.
Just take Swift.
I don't like Swift. I've seen too much of Swift. He gives a lot of questions. Let me take. Let me take Blake Corum.
Blake Corum. Nice. I think he'll for sure be good at the goal line and good for some touchdowns. Got to see where he fits, if he's going to get yards or be kind of a change of pace back based on who drafts him. All right. Next up is David.
There's a lot of good wide receivers in the league, but I'm surprised this guy hasn't gotten chosen. This was he only played about half the season before he broke his leg. CJ Stroud's best friend and number one receiver here in Houston. I'm going with a hometown pick, Tank Nathaniel Dell. Let's go.
Tank Dell. All right. The little guy who's never been an NFL player of his size, who's been productive like he was last year. So he's already breaking records, but he did get knocked out last year. David is up. Last pick. He needs a receiver.
Oh, David went.
Alex is up. Yep.
Oh, Alex is up. You're right.
So this will be a topic for discussion in future shows. Stacking. David did comment in the YouTube chat. This guy is a stud. Christian Watson. My plan is coming to fruition. Christian Watson. Got to stay healthy.
I tell you, if we're looking to the playoffs for indications of sleepers for next year, I think the best receiver on the Packers is Dobbs. That guy was playing awesome in the playoffs.
That's fair. Also, Jaden Reed is also at one that I was debating too.
Yeah, exactly. To me, Watson was great when Rodgers was there, but I didn't see it last year, and he was hurt so much. He's definitely boomer bust potential. All right, last pick of the draft here is a tight end for Nico.
The hometown hero. Don't know how he made it this far. Cole Kmet out of the Notre Dame.
Cole Kmet.
Surprised nobody gave Darren Waller some love.
Oh
I'll
my
see you there.
gosh.
He hurt. He was hurt a good part of the season. Like I don't know.
Told me in fantasy.
He's always hurt. He's always
hurt. I don't like it.
All right. Before we wrap up, who do you guys think? Let's do two things. Who do you think is the one player you're surprised didn't get picked? And then who do you think has the best team if we all look at these? Let's put it in the YouTube chat.
You know I'm going off to Eckler.
But we can also comment here. Yeah, are you see, Will? Nobody's taking Eckler in 6 rounds. Nobody believes. You're like the last guy to believe in him. You literally. He needs people like you in his corner to tell him he can still do it.
He's like, I mean, he doesn't have a backup. That's a big deal.
I don't even think he's going to be on the Chargers next year. I think if Blake Corum lands there, or I don't. Who knows? And he's.
Pull up the teams again. Let's see.
You can tell us on Zoom here too. Who you think? Who you're surprised didn't get picked?
I'm surprised CJ Stroud didn't get picked, but I get it with Alex with the hometown Jordan Love, but Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson, Tua, I would have chosen Stroud over all of those guys.
Yeah, so Stroud didn't go in our top 12 quarterbacks, and neither did Justin Fields. Fields
makes sense though.
I don't know. To me, Fields is good for 1,000 yards on the ground. That's like a running back and a receiver.
Fields was the shocker for me. The only reason I thought to go Kyler over Fields was just because we don't know where Fields is going to play.
Yeah, but no matter where he plays, he's going to start and run. So yeah, I like Fields over Murray, over Richardson. I don't know. There's just a lot of good quarterbacks in the league right now.
Greg, is this a 6-point rushing touchdown league? Because if it is, I really like Cam's team with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to obviously play it out, but 6 point, for running touchdown. So running quarterbacks like Richardson, Jalen Hurts, Fields.
You've got Debo too with the potential to run for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's true.
Until Kyle Pitts gets 0 catches for -3 yards on a rush.
I bet I got the most touchdowns for rushing. Josh Allen, he gets a lot of 1 yarder.
Yeah, you're right.
I like Tyler's team.
That was my go-to player prop in the whole NFL playoffs. I'm like, Josh Allen to run for a touchdown.
I think Tyler might have had the best team.
I swear, Josh Allen, I think he had 15 rushing touchdowns.
Thank you.
In the regular season, and it was like even money.
No, I think my team would be the most consistent team.
I like Ernest's team up until that Corum pick.
Yeah, I was looking at Ernest too.
A lot of you see a lot of running backs are taken in the second round. Like it was getting real tight. Like man, it's cool. I believe in Blake Corum. I saw a lot of his games at Michigan. They show a lot of Michigan games in Pennsylvania and Philly. So I'm very confident in that pick. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, you would have been better off going after I know you say you didn't like DeAndre Swift, but you would have been better off going with Najee Harris or Tony Pollard.
But see, like with Swift, he's very inconsistent. I'm not gonna lie to you, he's very inconsistent. Like a lot of these players, I've seen a lot of their games. I'm not happy about it, especially Swift. Harris, yeah, he's a big body running back, but like I said, Blake Corum, he's that guy. I'll say he's that guy.
He's big body, but the other thing is it's a PPR league, and they run a lot of swing routes and screens up in Pittsburgh because Kenny Pickett sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Jalen,
that's not Najee's problem, but the way the offense coordinator they run them calls, everybody knows the ball 9 out of 10 is going to Najee Harris or Kenny Pickett.
So, yeah, but David, Najee Harris gets spelled by his backup a lot of times.
Yeah, I like Jalen Warren a lot. I think he'll outperform Najee this year.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's another pick you could have gone with right there, Jalen Warren as well.
That's a reach, though. I think at that pick, I think that's a little bit of a reach. Taking a guy who we think is
I think at the end of the day, you're assuming that Najee Harris is going to get most of the touches during the season. So if you really get his backup, he's not getting a lot of touches. So
who's the Cowboys starter now? Is it Pollard or is it
I think it's still Pollard.
Yeah,
that other
it's
guy
Pollard.
He's a
they'll
free agent.
probably
On the
cut
free
him. No,
agent
they'll probably
market.
cut him. He's a free
And we're
agent.
drafting a running back.
Their backup was good, I remember. I forget his name though.
Yeah, Doddle.
Yeah.
He wasn't that good. He can't start. Donald. They need to draft one. Yeah.
Nobody chose Chuba.
I know. Is the Panthers the one team that nobody got?
Yeah, but it's
Pacheco.
Not Chuba.
No, New England
Nobody
has
took
no
a
players.
Panther.
Well, New England has,
Chuba,
I guess,
Chuba, same thing.
Nobody took a
Bubba
Panther in New England.
New England
right?
might have Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised no one wanted Harrison.
I didn't know we could take rookies until that last round when Will was like, okay, I'll take Brock Bowers. But I think Marvin Harrison's going to be a number one in New England.
Yeah, Greg talked us out of Marvin Harrison. You don't want Marvin Harrison, right, Greg?
As a Buckeye fan, I don't want him, man. I don't
Who's
think,
going to throw
I think
it
he's
to him?
overrated.
He'll be horrible in fantasy if he goes to New England. New England is like the death zone for fantasy. I do not want any New England players on my fantasy team.
You say that, but if Marvin Harrison is the generational talent that we believe to be,
David, he dropped
Brandon
passes,
Browning was eating with Jamar Chase last year. So who
He
knows?
drops
You never
passes
truly
in
know.
college. He's gonna drop passes in the NFL. He's
Brandon
he's
Browning was the
overrated.
California State Player of the Year. He's a good quarterback. I'll take him in Oakland over O'Connell right now.
Yeah, I'm not that high on Harrison.
No.
I think he'll be a solid pro, but he doesn't, this
I'm
isn't like
telling you,
Larry
man.
Fitzgerald or, Randy Moss coming out of here.
I'm high
He's
on
gonna
all the
drop
receivers coming
passes
out
in
the
college.
draft.
He had the quarterback throw great throws to him and he dropped them. He's got drop issues, which is scary.
I mean, Malik Neighbors has more touchdowns and more yards than him this past year.
Yeah.
I think they're about the same, in my opinion. So, all right. Well, this was really fun. I like doing the draft with you guys and getting to hang out. This Milwaukee-Chicago game is pretty close, but probably not worth staying up for.
Yeah, Halliburton put up 0 points in that bounce back game against that little rematch they had against the Pelicans. Followed up that dub with the
killing me in fantasy, man. He was my second pick after Jokic in fantasy. Halliburton's been killing me the last couple of weeks.
It's that injury that messed him up. That's why.
I know it might be. It might be. Otherwise, it's the trade for Siakam. Maybe he doesn't like Siakam.
I mean, I say it's more the injury than the trade for Siakam, but that probably might be a factor too. But I think that injury, ever since Halliburton came back, he's been like on and off. He'll have a great game, then he'll have like a terrible one. But go 0 for 7, that's unlike him for sure.
But Cameron, hype us up for Wemby on Monday.
yeah, man. Wemby's already people say he's putting the league on notice. He's already there. He's already there. And you know what? When I was putting up my parlay the other day, I actually stayed away from that Thunder and Spurs game. I knew because every time I cook up a parlay, every night in the NBA, it's always a heavy favorite that doesn't cover my last leg. I had a feeling that the Thunder coming off a back-to-back, and then the rookie matchup, Chet versus Wemby. Man, I had a feeling he'd go off, and he did. He absolutely shut down Chet in the fourth quarter. I love that clip of that one-on-one. Chet tried to go on him and then did that little step back, and Wemby just blocked that, got it out of there, then went down the court and hit a step back three. Man, but I think Draymond, though, he's got his hands full with that. I think what the Warriors should do is just let Wemby get all his points, take all the other players out the game. Wemby's a special player. Warriors, I think they should cover whatever the spread is. It should be double digits, I believe. Spurs only got like 13 wins on the season. That's right down there at the bottom with the Pistons and the Wizards. But other than that, man, Wemby, he's a great player to watch. You can cash him in for 3-4 blocks a game. That I'd cook that up in my same game parlay. Curry, he's good for 3-4 games or 3-4 threes a game. Go ahead and throw that in your parlay. Warriors dub. I'm just trying to help you guys make some money.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Wemby's in a full game yet, so I'm excited to watch that on Monday. He's in last place. He hasn't done anything to warrant me watching one of his games yet, in my opinion. So I know you love him, so I appreciate you hyping up. I'm looking forward.
He's averaging a 5x5 over these last couple of weeks, which has never been seen in the NBA before.
I feel like you just make up new stats for them to be number one in, like, big guys never used to shoot threes, so saying that he averages 5 threes is just like you're making stuff up now.
Real quick, I just want to mention I kind of talked about it the other day when we were talking about college basketball. Loyola really dropped the ball against St. Bonaventure, but I mentioned tonight was the night. They're playing Dayton, ranked number 21. They have a 5-point lead right now with 8 minutes left in the game, so I'm going to be keeping my eye on that one.
Yeah, Loyola, I got them as a top 36 team. They'll make the tournament and make some noise, I believe, although they lost, what was it, by 30 the other day. I think they'll be okay. I'm a big fan of Drew Valentine.
David, you love Sister Jean, don't you? I can tell.
Yeah. Name my dog after her.
Nice.
Perfect. Love that.
Is she still alive?
Jean, she's 104. Shoot, she might outlive us.
Because they're gonna need her at the tournament, man.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been a great night and a great 3 weeks. Have a great weekend, everyone, and look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Have a good night.